Welcome, wanderer of the wasteland, to the gleaming halls of the Brotherhood of Steel. Tonight, we journey through the sacred hierarchy of this military order, from the youngest squire to the most revered elder. Let the gentle rhythm of rank and responsibility carry you into peaceful sleep as we explore each station, each duty, each sacred bond that holds this brotherhood together. Close your eyes and let yourself drift as we ascend through the chain that binds, discovering the honor, dedication, and unwavering purpose that defines each member of this technological crusade. The Brotherhood of Steel did not emerge from the ashes of the Great War as a fully formed hierarchy with centuries of tradition behind its ranks and ceremonies. Like all things born from necessity and forged in the crucible of survival, it began with simple needs: the need for order, the need for purpose, and most fundamentally, the need to ensure that the mistakes which had brought civilization to its knees would never be repeated. At its foundation lies a deceptively simple concept known as the chain that binds, a philosophy that would grow to define not just military structure, but the very soul of what it means to serve in the Brotherhood's ranks. The chain that binds represents more than mere military hierarchy or bureaucratic organization. It embodies a sacred trust that flows both upward and downward through every level of Brotherhood society, binding each member to those above and below them in bonds stronger than steel and more enduring than the technologies they seek to preserve. The first cornerstone of this chain demands that orders flow from on high down through the ranks, that the wisdom of superiors be carried out without hesitation or question. But the second cornerstone reveals the deeper wisdom of the Brotherhood's founders, that orders must observe the flow and not skip ranks, that each link in the chain must respect both those it commands and those who command it. This dual nature of respect and obedience creates a harmony of intent and cohesion of thought that has enabled the Brotherhood to survive and prosper across the wasteland for over 2 centuries. An elder may issue orders to a scribe or knight directly when circumstances demand, but the chain that binds requires acknowledgement of the intermediate ranks, ensuring that the delicate balance of authority and responsibility remains intact. It is a system born from military necessity, but elevated to something approaching religious devotion, where each rank serves not just a functional purpose, but a sacred role in preserving the light of knowledge against the encroaching darkness of ignorance and chaos. At the very foundation of this great chain, supporting all the weight and wisdom that rises above them, stand the squires, children who have been born into or recruited by the Brotherhood, their young minds shaped from the earliest age by the values and traditions that define this technological crusade. Originally, the rank of squire could be held by Brotherhood members of any age who had yet to be assigned to a specific order or granted formal rank. But as the organization matured and its needs became more specialized, the role evolved to encompass only the youngest members of their society, children whose entire worldview would be formed within the protective embrace of Brotherhood doctrine. The transformation that occurred in the year 2277, when Squire became a title reserved exclusively for children, reflects the Brotherhood's growing understanding that their mission extended far beyond the immediate recovery of technology. They were building not just an army or a scholarly institution, but a civilization, a way of life that would endure across generations and carry forward the sacred knowledge that pre-war humanity had accumulated over millennia. Children represented the future of this vision, blank slates upon which the Brotherhood could inscribe its deepest values and most fundamental beliefs. For a child born into the Brotherhood, the rank of squire is not a position to be achieved, but a birthright to be embraced. From their earliest moments of consciousness, these young ones are surrounded by the rhythms of military life, the quiet dedication of scholarly pursuit, and the unwavering certainty that they are part of something greater than themselves. Their nurseries echo with the hum of technological devices, their lullabies are the prayers of reverence for the wisdom of the ancients, and their first words often include technical terminology that would baffle most wasteland survivors. The daily life of a Brotherhood squire unfolds with the structured precision that characterizes all aspects of their organization. Dawn brings the ritual of morning inspection, where young bodies are checked for cleanliness and proper uniform maintenance, where posture and bearing are evaluated with the same attention to detail that might be applied to examining a piece of pre-war technology. These children learn that presentation matters, that the way they carry themselves reflects not only on their own dedication, but on the honor of the Brotherhood itself. Educational instruction begins before breakfast and continues throughout the day, interrupted only by meals, physical training, and practical work assignments. The curriculum that shapes young Brotherhood minds is comprehensive and rigorous, covering not only basic literacy and mathematics, but technical subjects that would challenge college-educated pre-war citizens. Squires learn to read technical manuals before they master poetry, understand circuit diagrams before they study history, and recite the specifications of power armor components with the same fluency that other children might apply to nursery rhymes. The indoctrination that accompanies this technical education is gentle but thorough, woven so seamlessly into daily instruction that the children absorb Brotherhood values as naturally as they breathe the recycled air of their bunkers. They learn that technology is sacred, that knowledge is power, and that the Brotherhood stands as humanity's last best hope against the chaos and ignorance that destroyed the old world. These lessons are not presented as political doctrine, but as simple facts about the nature of reality, truths as fundamental as the laws of physics or the need for food and water. Physical training for squires emphasizes discipline and endurance over raw strength, recognizing that these children will need to develop the mental toughness and systematic thinking that characterizes effective Brotherhood personnel more than they need to become individual warriors. They learn to march in formation, to follow complex instructions without question, to work together as part of a larger whole while maintaining their individual responsibilities and standards. The exercises they perform are designed to build character as much as muscle, to instill the habits of precision and dedication that will serve them throughout their Brotherhood careers. Work assignments provide squires with practical experience in the roles they may eventually fill as full members of the organization. They carry messages between different sections of Brotherhood facilities, learning the layout and function of their homes while developing the reliability and attention to detail that such responsibilities demand. They assist with cargo movement and supply distribution, gaining appreciation for the logistics that keep their communities functioning. They perform maintenance and cleaning duties that teach them respect for the tools and equipment that sustain Brotherhood operations. But perhaps most importantly, squires are taken on carefully supervised field missions that expose them to the world beyond their protected bunkers and citadels. These expeditions serve multiple educational purposes, allowing young Brotherhood members to observe the inhabitants of the wasteland and understand the conditions that make their organization's mission so vital. They witness firsthand the technological ignorance and social chaos that characterizes much of post-war society, seeing with their own eyes the confirmation of everything they have been taught about the necessity of Brotherhood guidance and protection. The psychological impact of these field observations cannot be overstated. For children who have grown up surrounded by the order and purpose of Brotherhood society, the wasteland represents a powerful lesson in the consequences of abandoning the values their organization represents. They see settlements struggling with basic problems that Brotherhood technology could solve easily, communities torn apart by conflicts that proper authority could prevent, and individuals living in squalor and ignorance that education could eliminate. These experiences reinforce the fundamental Brotherhood belief that they are not merely another faction competing for resources and territory, but the inheritors of a sacred trust to preserve and protect the achievements of human civilization. The squires return from field missions with enhanced appreciation for the safety and stability they enjoy within Brotherhood protection, but also with a deeper understanding of the responsibility that will someday fall upon their shoulders as full members of the organization. The indoctrination that shapes young Brotherhood minds extends beyond formal education and field experience to encompass every aspect of their daily existence. The stories they hear before sleep are tales of Brotherhood heroes who sacrifice themselves to preserve valuable technology or protect innocent communities. The games they play reinforce lessons about cooperation, hierarchy, and the importance of following orders. Even their meals become opportunities for instruction about resource management, technological advancement, and the careful balance required to maintain civilization in a hostile world. As squires mature and demonstrate aptitude in particular areas, they begin to receive specialized instruction that prepares them for eventual assignment to one of the Brotherhood's major branches. Those who show talent for technical subjects receive additional training in engineering, computer science, and research methodology that will serve them well if they choose to pursue careers as scribes. Children who demonstrate leadership potential and physical courage are given enhanced military training that prepares them for eventual service as knights or paladins. The psychological conditioning that accompanies this specialized education is subtle but profound. Squires learn not just the technical skills required for their chosen paths, but the mental attitudes and emotional responses that characterize successful Brotherhood personnel. They develop the patient dedication required for long-term research projects, the unquestioning obedience necessary for effective military operations, and the unwavering certainty in Brotherhood superiority that enables them to carry out their duties without moral ambiguity or emotional conflict. The social dynamics among squires reflect the hierarchical structure of the adult Brotherhood, with older children taking on supervisory roles over younger ones, and natural leaders emerging to coordinate group activities and resolve conflicts. These relationships serve as training grounds for the command responsibilities that many of these children will eventually assume, teaching them how to balance authority with compassion, firmness with fairness, and personal ambition with service to the greater good. Competition among squires is encouraged but carefully managed, channeled toward goals that benefit the entire community rather than promoting individual achievement at the expense of group cohesion. Children compete to excel in their studies, to demonstrate superior understanding of Brotherhood principles, and to earn recognition for their contributions to community welfare. But they also learn that their individual success means nothing if it comes at the cost of Brotherhood unity or effectiveness. The emotional bonds that develop among squires often last throughout their Brotherhood careers, creating networks of personal loyalty and mutual support that strengthen the organization as a whole. Children who grow up together, sharing the unique experience of Brotherhood upbringing, develop a camaraderie that transcends the formal relationships defined by rank and duty. These friendships provide emotional sustenance during the difficult periods that characterize life in a military organization, while also creating additional layers of commitment that bind individuals to the Brotherhood cause. The religious or quasi-religious aspects of Brotherhood culture are absorbed by squires through daily exposure rather than formal theological instruction. They learn to regard technology with reverence, to treat pre-war artifacts with the respect due to sacred relics, and to view their own roles as part of a divine mission to restore order to a chaotic world. This spiritual dimension of Brotherhood membership provides psychological comfort and moral certainty that enables even the youngest members to face the challenges and dangers of wasteland existence with confidence and purpose. As squires approach the age of majority and prepare to take on full membership in the Brotherhood, they undergo intensive evaluation that will determine their ultimate assignment within the organization. This assessment process examines not only their technical competencies and physical capabilities, but their psychological readiness to assume adult responsibilities, their commitment to Brotherhood values, and their potential for advancement within their chosen specialization. The transition from Squire to full Brotherhood membership represents one of the most significant moments in these young people's lives, marking their acceptance as true inheritors of the sacred trust that defines their organization. The ceremony that accompanies this transition combines elements of graduation, religious confirmation, and military commissioning, acknowledging both their achievements and their commitments in language that emphasizes the solemnity and significance of the moment. For those who have known no other life than service to the Brotherhood, this transition feels less like a choice than like the natural fulfillment of their destiny. They step forward into adult roles with the confidence that comes from knowing exactly who they are, what they believe, and what is expected of them. The uncertainty and identity crises that characterize adolescence for most post-war survivors are largely absent from Brotherhood-raised squires, replaced by the security that comes from belonging to something greater than themselves. The remarkable example of Elder Arthur Maxon demonstrates the potential that lies within even the youngest Brotherhood members when they are provided with proper guidance and opportunities for advancement. Rising from the rank of Squire to the position of Elder in the space of 10 years, Maxon's meteoric ascent through the Brotherhood hierarchy represents not an anomaly, but the natural result of combining exceptional ability with the systematic development that characterized his upbringing within the organization. Maxon's rise from lowly Squire to Supreme Commander illustrates the meritocratic principles that guide Brotherhood advancement, where dedication and competence matter more than birth or social connections. His success provides inspiration for current squires while demonstrating to the adult Brotherhood that their investment in youth development can yield extraordinary returns when applied to individuals with the right combination of talent and commitment. The psychological impact of Maxon's example on current squires cannot be understated. Here is proof that the rank they currently hold is not a limitation, but a foundation, that the education and training they receive as children can elevate them to positions of ultimate authority within the organization they serve. His story becomes part of Brotherhood mythology, a legend that encourages excellence while reinforcing the values of hard work, dedication, and unwavering loyalty that define their culture. As night settles over Brotherhood installations across the wasteland, squires retire to dormitories where the quiet conversations that follow lights out reveal the depth of their commitment and the breadth of their dreams. They speak of the technologies they hope to discover, the missions they hope to undertake, and the contributions they hope to make to the great work of rebuilding civilization from the ashes of the old world. Their words carry the enthusiasm of youth tempered by the discipline of military training, the optimism of childhood shaped by the realism of wasteland existence. These young voices, whispering in the darkness of bunkers and citadels, represent the future of the Brotherhood of Steel in its purest form. They are the inheritors of Roger Maxon's vision, the guardians of humanity's technological legacy, and the hope for a tomorrow where the mistakes of the past need never be repeated. In their dreams and aspirations, in their dedication and sacrifice, in their unwavering faith in the righteousness of their cause, the true spirit of the Brotherhood lives on, passed from one generation to the next like a sacred flame that will never be extinguished. The foundation upon which the entire Brotherhood hierarchy rests is built not of steel or concrete, but of these young hearts and minds, shaped from birth to serve a cause greater than themselves, trained from childhood to carry forward the light of knowledge in a world that has forgotten how to dream of better days. They are the squires, the beginning of all that follows, the promise of all that is yet to come in the long march toward the restoration of human civilization. In the hallowed halls where ancient knowledge meets modern purpose, where the whispered prayers of technological reverence echo through corridors lined with salvaged wisdom, the scribes of the Brotherhood of Steel carry forward humanity's greatest treasure, the accumulated learning of a civilization that nearly destroyed itself in nuclear fire. They are the keepers of secrets, the guardians of understanding, the patient scholars who transform scavenged artifacts into tools of survival and instruments of hope. While knights may wield the sword and paladins may command the battlefield, it is the scribes who forge the weapons, maintain the armor, and preserve the knowledge that makes such martial prowess possible. The scribe orders represent far more than mere academic pursuit or technical support for military operations. They embody the Brotherhood's deepest philosophical commitment to the proposition that knowledge itself is sacred, that understanding represents humanity's highest achievement, and that the careful preservation and application of wisdom stands as the only reliable bulwark against the chaos that consumed the old world. In their laboratories and archives, in their workshops and research facilities, in the quiet dedication of their daily work, the scribes maintain the flame of civilization that nuclear winter could not extinguish. The sacred mission of the scribes divides into 3 distinct but interconnected orders, each dedicated to a specific aspect of technological preservation and advancement. Like the 3 points of a triangle, these orders support and strengthen each other while pursuing their individual specializations with focused dedication. The Order of the Sword concerns itself with the instruments of war, the weapons and offensive technologies that enable the Brotherhood to defend its mission and eliminate threats to civilized order. The Order of the Shield focuses on protection and infrastructure, the armor, vehicles, and defensive systems that keep Brotherhood personnel safe while they carry out their sacred duties. The Order of the Quill serves as the memory of the organization, collecting and cataloging the written wisdom of the ancients, preserving knowledge that might otherwise be lost forever to the ignorance and neglect that characterizes much of wasteland society. Each order operates under the guidance of a proctor, senior scribes whose expertise and dedication have earned them the right to direct the efforts of their subordinates toward goals that serve the greater mission of the Brotherhood. These proctors report directly to the head scribe, creating a clear chain of authority that ensures coordination between the orders while allowing each to pursue its specialized mission without interference from competing priorities or conflicting directives. At the foundation of the scribe hierarchy, supporting all the weight of scholarship and innovation that rises above them, stand the scribe initiates, young Brotherhood members who have demonstrated aptitude for intellectual work and dedication to the pursuit of knowledge. These research assistants represent the future of Brotherhood scholarship, their eager minds and willing hands providing essential support for the complex projects that characterize advanced technological research and development. The path to becoming a scribe initiate typically begins during the final years of Squire training, when aptitude tests and performance evaluations identify those children whose talents lie in the realm of analysis and understanding rather than combat and command. Unlike their peers who show preference for military service, these intellectually gifted young people display patience for detailed work, curiosity about how things function, and the kind of systematic thinking that characterizes effective research methodology. Scribe initiates enter their new roles with enthusiasm that is both touching and practical, their excitement about joining the ranks of Brotherhood scholars providing motivation for the long hours and demanding standards that characterize life in the research divisions. They arrive each morning eager to assist their superiors, ready to take on whatever tasks might advance the great work of technological preservation and development, unburdened by the frustrations and disappointments that can accumulate over years of painstaking research. The initial assignments given to scribe initiates are designed to provide broad exposure to the different aspects of technological work rather than immediate specialization in any particular field. A young initiate might spend their morning helping Order of the Sword researchers analyze weapon components, their afternoon assisting Order of the Shield engineers with armor maintenance procedures, and their evening supporting Order of the Quill archivists in cataloging newly discovered documents. This rotation ensures that they develop appreciation for the interconnected nature of technological knowledge while allowing their natural interests and abilities to guide their eventual specialization. The education that scribe initiates receive extends far beyond the practical skills required for their immediate duties. They attend lectures on scientific methodology, theoretical physics, pre-war history, and the philosophical foundations of Brotherhood doctrine. They learn to read technical diagrams, understand mathematical relationships, and think systematically about complex problems that may require months or years of sustained effort to resolve. Most importantly, they absorb the reverent attitude toward knowledge that characterizes Brotherhood scholarship, learning to view each piece of information as a sacred trust that must be preserved and protected for future generations. As scribe initiates demonstrate competence and dedication in their assigned duties, they gradually take on greater responsibilities and more challenging projects. They might be assigned to assist with field research missions, where their fresh perspectives and careful attention to detail can contribute to the discovery and recovery of valuable technological artifacts. They learn to operate sophisticated testing equipment, maintain complex laboratory procedures, and document their findings with the precision that enables other researchers to build upon their work. The transition from scribe initiate to full scribe represents a significant milestone in the intellectual development of these young scholars. It marks their acceptance as legitimate contributors to Brotherhood research efforts, their recognition as trusted guardians of technological knowledge, and their commitment to the lifelong pursuit of understanding that defines the scribe orders. The ceremony that accompanies this promotion emphasizes the sacred nature of the responsibility they are accepting, the trust that the Brotherhood is placing in their dedication and competence. Upon achieving the rank of full scribe, these scholars are assigned to one of the three orders based on their demonstrated interests, natural abilities, and the current needs of their chapter. This assignment represents more than simple job placement. It defines their identity within Brotherhood society and determines the specific aspect of technological preservation to which they will dedicate their professional lives. A scribe assigned to the Order of the Sword becomes a warrior scholar whose expertise serves the Brotherhood's military mission. One assigned to the Order of the Shield becomes a guardian engineer whose knowledge protects Brotherhood personnel and equipment. Those chosen for the Order of the Quill become keeper archivists whose work preserves the wisdom of ages for future generations. Within the Order of the Sword, scribes dedicate themselves to understanding the tools of warfare that enable the Brotherhood to defend its mission and eliminate threats to civilized order. Their laboratories echo with the controlled explosions of weapons testing, their workbenches cluttered with the disassembled components of energy weapons, conventional firearms, and explosive devices recovered from across the wasteland. They approach each piece of military hardware with the reverence due to sacred artifacts, recognizing that within the metal and circuitry lie secrets that could tip the balance between victory and defeat in the ongoing struggle to preserve human civilization. The weapons research conducted by Order of the Sword scribes encompasses both the restoration of existing technology and the development of new innovations based on recovered designs. They carefully disassemble laser rifles to understand the principles of directed energy projection, study plasma weapons to unlock the secrets of controlled fusion reactions, and analyze explosive devices to master the chemistry of destruction and protection. Each discovery becomes part of the growing body of knowledge that enables the Brotherhood to maintain technological superiority over the various threats that challenge their mission. But the work of Order of the Sword scribes extends beyond simple research and development to encompass the practical requirements of keeping Brotherhood forces properly equipped for their dangerous duties. They maintain armories filled with weapons of every description, ensuring that knights and paladins have access to the tools they need to carry out their missions effectively. They conduct training sessions that teach proper maintenance procedures, optimal employment techniques, and safety protocols that prevent accidents and equipment failures in combat situations. The reverent attitude that characterizes all Brotherhood scholarship takes on particular intensity among Order of the Sword Scribes, who view weapons not merely as tools of destruction but as instruments of justice and protection. They understand that the laser rifles they maintain have the power to eliminate threats to innocent communities, that the missile launchers they calibrate can destroy the war machines of hostile factions, and that the energy cells they manufacture enable Brotherhood forces to bring order to chaotic regions of the wasteland. In the workshops of the Order of the Shield, scribes pursue the complementary mission of protection and defense, their expertise focused on the technologies that keep Brotherhood personnel alive and effective in the dangerous environment of the post-war world. Their domain encompasses power armor systems, vertibird maintenance, fortification design, and all the complex infrastructure that enables Brotherhood operations to continue despite the numerous hazards that characterize wasteland existence. Power armor represents perhaps the most sophisticated technology in the Order of the Shield's care, a fusion of advanced materials, science, robotics, and human engineering that transforms individual Brotherhood members into walking arsenals capable of surviving and fighting in conditions that would quickly kill unprotected humans. Shield scribes spend years mastering the intricate systems that enable these mechanical marvels to function reliably, learning to diagnose problems with servo motors, repair damaged armor plating, and calibrate sensor systems that provide their wearers with superhuman capabilities. The maintenance requirements for power armor systems demand not only technical expertise but artistic sensibility, as each suit represents a unique combination of components, modifications, and adaptations that reflect the preferences and needs of its assigned user. Shield scribes develop intimate knowledge of individual armor systems, learning the particular quirks and characteristics that distinguish one suit from another, building relationships with the knights and paladins who depend on their expertise for survival in combat situations. Beyond power armor, Order of the Shield scribes concern themselves with the vehicles and infrastructure that enable Brotherhood operations across the vast distances of the wasteland. They maintain the vertibirds that provide rapid transportation and fire support, design and construct the bunkers and fortifications that protect Brotherhood installations, and develop the communication systems that enable coordinated operations across multiple locations. Their work requires understanding of mechanical engineering, structural design, electronics, and logistics, a combination of disciplines that few wasteland organizations can match. The technological worship that characterizes Brotherhood culture finds perhaps its purest expression in the work of Order of the Shield scribes, who view each piece of protective equipment as a sacred trust that stands between Brotherhood personnel and the chaos that destroyed the old world. They approach their duties with the dedication of priests tending holy relics, understanding that their careful attention to detail can mean the difference between life and death for the warriors who depend on their expertise. In the quiet archives of the Order of the Quill, scribes pursue what may be the most important mission of all, the preservation and cataloguing of human knowledge in all its forms. Their domain encompasses not just technical manuals and scientific treatises, but the entire cultural heritage of pre-war civilization. From government documents and historical records to works of literature and popular entertainment that provide insight into the minds and hearts of the people who built the world that nuclear fire consumed. Order of the Quill scribes approach each recovered document with the reverence due to irreplaceable treasures, recognizing that within the faded pages and corrupted data files lie the accumulated wisdom of centuries of human achievement. They work with infinite patience to restore damaged texts, decipher corrupted digital files, and organize recovered knowledge into comprehensive databases that enable other Brotherhood members to access information relevant to their specific needs and responsibilities. The scope of material that falls under the Order of the Quill's purview can seem almost overwhelming in its diversity. Technical manuals for pre-war industrial equipment provide blueprints for technologies that could revolutionize wasteland manufacturing. Government documents reveal the political and economic factors that contributed to the Great War, offering lessons that might prevent future conflicts. Scientific journals contain research findings that could advance Brotherhood understanding of physics, chemistry, biology, and engineering. Cultural artifacts like books, movies, and music provide insight into the values and aspirations that motivated pre-war society, helping Brotherhood members understand not just what was lost, but why it was worth preserving. The patient work of cataloging and preservation conducted by Order of the Quill scribes requires skills that extend far beyond simple reading and filing. They must understand multiple languages, decipher specialized technical terminology, and make connections between disparate pieces of information that might initially seem unrelated. A single recovered computer terminal might contain manufacturing specifications, personnel records, and personal correspondence that together provide a comprehensive picture of how a particular pre-war facility operated. The philosophical implications of their work weigh heavily on Order of the Quill scribes, who serve as the Brotherhood's institutional memory and the guardians of lessons that must not be forgotten. They understand that the knowledge they preserve represents humanity's greatest achievement and its greatest failure, the accumulated wisdom that enabled the creation of wonders beyond imagination, but also the blindness and arrogance that led to global nuclear devastation. As individual scribes gain experience and demonstrate exceptional competence in their chosen specializations, they may be promoted to the rank of senior scribe, a position that combines advanced technical expertise with responsibility for training and mentoring junior colleagues. Senior scribes represent the masters of their respective crafts, scholars whose understanding of their subjects has reached levels that enable them to undertake independent research projects and make original contributions to Brotherhood knowledge. The promotion to senior scribe is highly competitive, reflecting both the limited number of such positions available and the high standards that characterize Brotherhood advancement. Proctor Quinlan's observation to senior scribe Nariah that many others wait in line for her position illustrates the meritocratic pressure that drives excellence throughout the scribe hierarchy. Only those who consistently demonstrate superior ability, unwavering dedication, and innovative thinking can hope to achieve this level of recognition within their organization. Senior scribes often pursue research projects that reflect their personal interests and expertise while serving the broader needs of their order and chapter. Senior scribe Nariah's investigation into mole rat radiation resistance exemplifies this approach, combining scientific curiosity with practical applications that could benefit Brotherhood personnel. Her work on developing chemical compounds to protect against radiation exposure demonstrates how individual research interests can contribute to the collective security and effectiveness of the entire organization. The teaching responsibilities that accompany senior scribe status represent perhaps the most important aspect of the position, ensuring that hard-won knowledge and expertise are passed on to the next generation of Brotherhood scholars. Senior scribes conduct formal training sessions, supervise research projects, and provide mentorship that helps younger colleagues develop the skills and insights necessary for advanced work. Their guidance shapes not only the technical competence of junior scribes, but their approach to scholarship and their understanding of the sacred mission they serve. The unique position of Proctor represents the pinnacle of achievement within the individual scribe orders, a rank that exists only within the East Coast chapter and reflects the particular organizational needs of that large and complex Brotherhood community. Proctors serve as the operational heads of their respective orders, translating the broad directives of the head scribe into specific projects and assignments that advance their specialized missions. Proctor Quinlan of the Order of the Quill exemplifies the scope of authority and responsibility that characterizes this position. His directive that all technical documents, blueprints, and books be delivered to him for analysis demonstrates the centralized approach to knowledge management that enables the Brotherhood to maximize the value of recovered information. By requiring all discovered materials to pass through his review, Quinlan ensures that important discoveries are not overlooked and that connections between different pieces of information are identified and exploited. The bounty system that Proctor Quinlan has established illustrates the innovative approaches that Proctors can employ to advance their Order's missions. By offering rewards to Brotherhood members who recover valuable information during unrelated missions, he has created incentives for all personnel to contribute to the knowledge preservation effort regardless of their primary specialization. This approach recognizes that valuable information can be discovered anywhere and by anyone, turning every Brotherhood member into a potential contributor to the Order of the Quill's mission. Proctor Ingram of the Order of the Shield represents the irreplaceable expertise that characterizes the highest levels of Brotherhood scholarship. Elder Maxon's refusal to approve her requests for field duty reflects not personal preference but practical necessity. Her unique understanding of the Pridwin's systems makes her presence essential to the continued operation of the Brotherhood's flagship. The accumulated knowledge and experience that enable her to maintain this complex vessel cannot be easily replaced, making her more valuable as a technical specialist than as a field operative. The burden of irreplaceability that affects senior Brotherhood personnel like Proctor Ingram illustrates both the strength and vulnerability of an organization built around specialized expertise. The deep knowledge that makes these individuals invaluable also makes their loss potentially catastrophic, creating tensions between the natural desire of accomplished warriors to participate in field operations and the practical necessity of preserving their unique capabilities for the benefit of the entire organization. Above the Proctors stands the head scribe, the supreme authority over all Brotherhood scholarly activity within a chapter. This position represents the culmination of a lifetime dedicated to the pursuit and preservation of knowledge, typically held by individuals who have mastered not just one, but all three of the scribe orders. The head scribe serves as the primary liaison between the scholarly community and the military leadership, translating between the methodical pace of research and the urgent demands of operational necessity. The responsibilities of the head scribe encompass strategic planning for all technological research and development, resource allocation among competing projects and priorities, and personnel management for the entire scribe hierarchy. They must balance the long-term goals of knowledge preservation with the immediate needs of military operations, ensuring that Brotherhood forces have access to the equipment and information they need while maintaining the systematic approach to scholarship that enables continued technological advancement. Reginald Rothschild's tenure as head scribe during the tumultuous period surrounding the Enclave conflict illustrates the challenges and opportunities that characterize this position. His leadership during the crisis period when the Brotherhood faced super-mutant attacks, outcast defections, and Enclave technological superiority demonstrates the crucial role that senior scribes play in enabling military success through technological innovation and adaptation. The successful activation of Liberty Prime under Rothschild's guidance represents perhaps the greatest achievement in Brotherhood technological history, transforming a pre-war prototype into a functioning weapon system that proved decisive in the conflict with the Enclave. This project required not only technical expertise but organizational leadership, project management skills, and the ability to coordinate efforts across multiple specializations and hierarchical levels. The reverse engineering of Enclave technology that occurred under Rothschild's leadership provides an example of how Brotherhood scribes transform enemy capabilities into assets that serve their own mission. The vertibird technology captured from the Enclave became the foundation for the Brotherhood's own air force, while other recovered systems contributed to the development of the Pridwen and other advanced platforms that enhanced Brotherhood operational capabilities. The creation of the archivist position within the East Coast chapter reflects the evolution of Brotherhood organization in response to changing strategic needs and threats. Archivists serve as the Elder's personal intelligence analysts, tasked with monitoring energy readings and technological signatures across the wasteland to identify potential threats or opportunities that might require Brotherhood attention. This position represents the intersection of scholarship and intelligence work, combining technical expertise with strategic analysis to provide leadership with the information needed for informed decision-making. Archivist Knox's analysis of energy readings from the Commonwealth exemplifies the critical role that these specialists play in Brotherhood strategic planning. His identification of Institute technology signatures and assessment of their potential threat level provided Elder Maxon with the intelligence needed to authorize the expedition that would ultimately lead to the Institute conflict. Without this careful analysis and interpretation of technical data, the Brotherhood might have remained unaware of the Institute's activities until it was too late to respond effectively. The establishment of the archivist position also reflects lessons learned from the Enclave conflict, when the Brotherhood was caught unprepared by the sudden appearance of a technologically advanced enemy that had operated in secrecy for years. By systematically monitoring technological activities across the wasteland, archivists help ensure that the Brotherhood maintains awareness of potential threats and opportunities before they develop into existential challenges. The philosophical implications of scribe work extend far beyond the practical requirements of maintaining equipment and preserving information. For these dedicated scholars, every piece of recovered technology represents both a triumph and a tragedy, evidence of human capability to create wonders beyond imagination, but also a reminder of humanity's capacity for self-destruction through the misuse of that same knowledge and power. The reverent attitude that scribes maintain toward pre-war technology reflects this complex relationship with the past, treating each artifact not merely as a tool or source of information, but as a sacred relic that connects them to the civilization that created it. Their careful restoration and preservation of these items serves as both practical necessity and ritual observance, honoring the memory of those who built the old world while ensuring that their achievements continue to benefit humanity in the post-war period. The technological worship that characterizes Brotherhood culture finds its purest expression in the daily work of scribes, who approach their duties with the dedication of priests serving in temples dedicated to human achievement. Their laboratories become chapels where the mysteries of science are contemplated and celebrated. Their archives serve as libraries containing the sacred texts of human knowledge, and their workshops function as altars where the offerings of careful maintenance and skilled craftsmanship are presented to the gods of technology and progress. The passing of each day in the quiet halls where scribes pursue their sacred mission marks another victory in the ongoing struggle to preserve human civilization against the forces of chaos and ignorance that threaten to extinguish the blessing flame of knowledge forever. Their patient work continues through seasons and years, through conflicts and crises, through the changing fortunes of war and peace that characterize life in the post-nuclear world. As night falls over Brotherhood installations and scribes retire to quarters filled with the soft glow of computer monitors and the gentle hum of environmental systems, they carry with them the satisfaction that comes from service to something greater than themselves. Their dreams are filled with visions of technologies restored, knowledge preserved, and mysteries solved through the application of careful scholarship and patient dedication to the pursuit of understanding. The Lancer orders emerged from the crucible of victory and the spoils of war. Born in those triumphant days when Brotherhood forces stood victorious over the smoking ruins of Enclave installations and surveyed the technological treasures that their enemies had left behind. Among the most valuable of these prizes were the vertibirds, those graceful aircraft that had given the Enclave such devastating tactical advantages during the conflict, now silenced and grounded. Their pilots dead or fled, their sophisticated systems waiting to be understood and mastered by new hands. The capture of Adams Air Force Base represented more than a simple military victory. It marked the Brotherhood's acquisition of a complete aviation infrastructure that would revolutionize their operational capabilities and strategic reach. The hangars filled with intact aircraft, the maintenance facilities equipped with specialized tools, the technical manuals and training materials that explain the intricate systems required for flight operations. All of these resources fell into Brotherhood hands like gifts from the gods of war, rewards for their dedication to the preservation of advanced technology. But vertibirds are not simple machines that can be operated by anyone with basic mechanical knowledge. They are complex fusion of advanced engineering, sophisticated electronics, and aerodynamic principles that require specialized training and dedicated maintenance to function safely and effectively. The Brotherhood leadership quickly recognized that the acquisition of these aircraft would require the creation of an entirely new branch of their organization, staffed with personnel specifically trained in the unique demands of aviation operations. The Lancer orders that emerged to fill this need represent something entirely unique within Brotherhood structure, a branch dedicated not to ground combat, technological research, or knowledge preservation, but to mastering the third dimension of warfare and transportation. If the traditional Brotherhood could be compared to a high school from the 1950s, with scribes as the studious intellectuals and knights and paladins as the athletic warriors, then the Lancers would be the mechanically inclined rebels whose expertise with engines and machinery made them indispensable, despite their unconventional approach to military discipline. The culture that developed within the Lancer orders reflects this unique position, combining the technical expertise required for aircraft maintenance with the individualistic spirit that characterizes successful pilots throughout history. Lancers develop close personal relationships with their aircraft, learning the particular quirks and characteristics of individual vertibirds the way that ground-based warriors learn the handling of specific weapons. They speak in technical jargon that can be incomprehensible to outsiders, use call signs and radio protocols that create a sense of exclusive community, and maintain traditions of friendly competition and mutual support that transcend formal military hierarchy. The foundation of the Lancer hierarchy begins with the rank of Lancer Initiate, a position reserved for Brotherhood members who have demonstrated both aptitude for aviation work and the psychological traits that characterize successful pilots. The selection process for admission to Lancer training is rigorous and comprehensive, evaluating candidates not only for technical knowledge and physical coordination, but for the mental flexibility and emotional stability required to operate complex machinery in dangerous conditions. Lancer Initiates enter their training with backgrounds as varied as the Brotherhood membership itself, though most have demonstrated mechanical aptitude or technical education that provides a foundation for understanding aircraft systems. Some are former scribes whose theoretical knowledge of engineering principles translates well to practical aviation work. Others are knights whose combat experience and tactical understanding make them valuable additions to the Brotherhood's air force. Still, others are recruited from outside the Brotherhood, wastelanders whose pre-war knowledge or natural talent for flight operations makes them valuable additions despite their lack of traditional Brotherhood education. The training program that transforms Brotherhood members into Lancer Initiates is comprehensive and demanding, covering every aspect of vertibird operation from basic flight principles to advanced combat maneuvers. Trains learn to understand the complex fusion engines that power these aircraft, master the flight control systems that enable precise maneuvering in combat conditions, and develop the situational awareness required to coordinate with ground forces during joint operations. Flight training begins with classroom instruction that covers the theoretical principles of aerodynamics, the mechanical systems that enable aircraft to function, and the radio procedures that enable coordination with other aircraft and ground-based forces. Students learn to read weather patterns, understand the effects of atmospheric conditions on aircraft performance, and calculate fuel consumption rates for different types of missions. Most importantly, they absorb the safety protocols and emergency procedures that can mean the difference between successful mission completion and catastrophic failure. Practical training progresses through carefully structured stages that gradually build pilot competence and confidence. Initial flight instruction takes place in dual-control training aircraft under the direct supervision of experienced Lancer Knights, who monitor student performance and intervene when necessary to prevent accidents or equipment damage. As students demonstrate mastery of basic flight skills, they advance to more complex training scenarios that simulate the challenging conditions they will face in operational environments. Combat training for Lancer initiates encompasses both air-to-air engagement techniques and ground support procedures, reflecting the dual role that vertibirds play in Brotherhood operations. Students learn to engage hostile aircraft using the weapons systems mounted on their platforms, coordinate attacks with other friendly aircraft, and provide fire support for ground forces engaged in combat operations. They practice evasive maneuvers designed to help them survive encounters with enemy air defenses, master low-level flight techniques that enable them to avoid radar detection, and develop the split-second decision-making skills required for survival in aerial combat. The ground training component of Lancer education acknowledges the reality that aircraft sometimes crash or are forced down behind enemy lines, requiring pilots to survive and fight in hostile territory using only the equipment they carry with them. Lancer initiates learn basic infantry tactics, survival techniques, and communication procedures that enable them to evade capture, contact friendly forces, and contribute to combat operations even when separated from their aircraft. The mechanical training that accompanies flight instruction ensures that Lancer initiates understand not only how to operate their aircraft, but how to maintain and repair them under field conditions. They learn to diagnose engine problems, replace worn components, and perform the routine maintenance tasks that keep vertibirds operational despite the harsh conditions and heavy use that characterize military aviation. This technical knowledge makes them more effective pilots by helping them understand the capabilities and limitations of their equipment, while also providing valuable backup expertise for maintenance crews. As Lancer initiates demonstrate competence in their training and begin to take on operational responsibilities, they work closely with experienced pilots who provide mentorship and guidance during the transition from student to operational crew member. These relationships often develop into lasting bonds of professional respect and personal friendship that strengthen the cohesion and effectiveness of Lancer units. The progression from Lancer Initiate to full Lancer represents a significant milestone in the development of Brotherhood aviation personnel, marking their acceptance as qualified pilots capable of independent flight operations. The ceremony that accompanies this promotion emphasizes both the achievement that advancement represents and the increased responsibility that comes with operational status. New Lancers receive their wings, physical symbols of their qualification that they wear with pride throughout their Brotherhood careers. Full Lancers represent the backbone of Brotherhood aviation, the experienced pilots who conduct the routine transportation and combat missions that enable Brotherhood operations across the vast distances of the wasteland. They fly supply missions that keep remote outposts properly equipped, transport personnel between different installations, and provide fire support for ground operations that require aerial assistance. Their expertise and reliability enable Brotherhood commanders to plan complex operations that would be impossible without air support. The daily life of a Lancer involves a combination of flight operations, aircraft maintenance, and mission planning that keeps them constantly engaged with the technical and tactical aspects of their profession. They conduct pre-flight inspections that verify the airworthiness of their aircraft, monitor weather conditions that might affect flight safety, and coordinate with ground controllers who manage air traffic around Brotherhood installations. Between missions, they perform routine maintenance tasks, participate in training exercises designed to maintain proficiency, and plan future operations based on intelligence reports and tactical requirements. The aircraft that Lancers operate become extensions of their own capabilities, familiar machines whose handling characteristics and performance limitations are as well known as the pilot's own physical abilities. Individual vertibirds develop reputations and personalities within the aviation community, with some aircraft preferred for their reliability or combat effectiveness, while others are known for particular quirks that require special handling techniques. Experienced Lancers often develop preferences for specific aircraft, building relationships with maintenance crews and requesting assignment to particular platforms based on their operational characteristics. The advancement to Lancer Knight represents recognition of superior piloting ability combined with leadership potential that enables experienced aviators to take on training and supervisory responsibilities. Lancer Knights serve as flight instructors for initiates, mission leaders for complex operations, and technical experts whose knowledge helps solve problems that arise in aviation operations. Their expertise encompasses not only flight operations but the broader tactical and strategic considerations that influence how air power is employed in Brotherhood campaigns. The training responsibilities that accompany Lancer Knight status require not only technical expertise but the ability to communicate complex concepts effectively and provide constructive feedback that helps junior personnel develop their fierce skills. Lancer Knights conduct both classroom instruction and practical flight training, adapting their teaching methods to the learning styles and experience levels of their students. They evaluate student performance, identify areas that require additional work, and provide the encouragement and guidance that help initiates overcome the challenges inherent in learning to fly complex military aircraft. The leadership role that Lancer Knights assume in operational missions requires them to coordinate multiple aircraft, communicate with ground forces, and make tactical decisions that affect mission success and crew safety. They plan flight routes that optimize fuel consumption and minimize exposure to threats, coordinate timing with other elements of complex operations, and adapt to changing conditions that require modification of original mission parameters. Proctor Tegan's observation about watching a friend progress from common wastelander to Lancer Knight in a short period illustrates the meritocratic principles that guide advancement within the aviation branch. The Lancer hierarchy rewards demonstrated competence and dedication, rather than time in service or political connections, enabling exceptional individuals to advance rapidly when they prove their capability and commitment. This approach ensures that leadership positions are filled by the most qualified personnel while providing incentives for excellence throughout the organization. The advancement to Lancer Sergeant marks the transition from individual pilot to unit commander, requiring the development of administrative and managerial skills that complement technical aviation expertise. Lancer Sergeants typically command small squadrons of 2 or more aircraft, coordinating their operations to accomplish missions that require multiple platforms working in coordination. They serve as the interface between individual pilots and higher-level commanders, translating strategic objectives into specific tactical missions, while ensuring that operational requirements are met safely and effectively. The squadron command responsibilities of Lancer Sergeants require them to balance multiple competing priorities, including mission effectiveness, crew safety, equipment preservation, and resource management. They must ensure that their aircraft are properly maintained and ready for operations, that their pilots receive adequate rest and training to maintain proficiency, and that squadron resources are used efficiently to support Brotherhood's strategic objectives. The area security missions that Lancer Sergeants often oversee involve establishing and maintaining safe flight corridors for Brotherhood operations, protecting supply convoys from aerial attack, and conducting reconnaissance missions that provide intelligence about hostile activities in their assigned areas. These responsibilities require not only tactical expertise but political sensitivity, as Lancer operations often take place in areas where relationships with local civilian populations can affect mission success. The community relations aspect of Lancer operations reflects the broader Brotherhood strategy of winning hearts and minds among wasteland populations. Using air power not only as an instrument of war, but as a tool for building support and cooperation with potential allies. Lancer Sergeants coordinate with civilian authorities to ensure that Brotherhood flight operations do not interfere with legitimate community activities, while also demonstrating Brotherhood capability and commitment to regional security. At the pinnacle of the Lancer hierarchy stands the rank of Lancer Captain, held by only the most experienced and capable aviation officers within the Brotherhood. These rare individuals command the respect and admiration of their subordinates, while bearing ultimate responsibility for the success of Brotherhood air operations. Their appearance in combat zones signals the importance that Brotherhood leadership places on particular operations, as Lancer captains typically reserve personal participation for missions that require their unique expertise or carry exceptional strategic significance. The small number of individuals who achieve Lancer captain rank reflects both the high standards required for advancement to this level and the specialized nature of aviation command that makes such positions relatively rare within the Brotherhood structure. Each Lancer captain represents decades of accumulated experience, proven leadership ability, and demonstrated competence in the most challenging aspects of military aviation. Captain Kells stands as the preeminent example of Lancer leadership, his command of the Pridwen representing the pinnacle of achievement within Brotherhood aviation. His position as captain of the Brotherhood flagship places him on equal footing with head scribes and head paladins, reporting directly to Elder Maxon and serving as the primary advisor on all matters related to air operations and mobility. The unique challenges of commanding the Pridwen require Kells to master not only traditional aviation leadership but the complexities of managing a mobile headquarters that serves as home, fortress, and command center for Brotherhood operations in the Commonwealth. His responsibilities encompass crew training and discipline, logistical coordination, defensive operations, and the integration of airship operations with ground-based Brotherhood activities. The disciplinary authority that Kells exercises over Pridwen personnel extends beyond traditional aviation chains of command to include knights and paladins, whose primary duties are ground-based but who must conform to shipboard protocols while aboard the flagship. His reputation for imposing creative punishments, such as requiring late personnel to clean the exterior of the airship with toothbrushes, demonstrates both his commitment to military discipline and his understanding of how to maintain morale and cohesion among diverse personnel operating in confined conditions. The fleet command responsibilities that come with Kells' position require him to coordinate not only the operations of the Pridwen but the entire Brotherhood vertibird fleet that provides transportation and fire support for operations throughout the Commonwealth. His decisions about aircraft deployment, mission priorities, and resource allocation directly affect the success of Brotherhood ground operations and the safety of personnel operating in hostile territory. The Arcadia expedition, commissioned specifically by Captain Kells, illustrates the authority and responsibility that characterize senior Lancer leadership. His decision to authorize this operation reflects not only tactical judgment about the threat posed by synth infiltration, but strategic understanding of how air power can be employed to achieve Brotherhood objectives quickly and decisively. The integration of Lancer operations with traditional Brotherhood ground and research activities represents one of the most significant organizational developments in the post-Enclave period, transforming the Brotherhood from a primarily ground-based force into a truly combined arms organization capable of projecting power across vast distances with unprecedented speed and flexibility. The success of this integration reflects not only the technical competence of Lancer personnel, but their ability to work effectively with colleagues from different branches whose training and perspectives may differ significantly from their own. The cultural impact of aviation capabilities on broader Brotherhood society extends beyond simple military effectiveness to encompass psychological and symbolic dimensions that strengthen organizational cohesion and public confidence in Brotherhood capabilities. The sight of vertibirds conducting routine operations provides visible evidence of Brotherhood technological superiority and operational reach, while the distinctive sound of their engines serves as an audible reminder of the protection that Brotherhood forces provide to communities under their influence. The recruitment and training challenges that face the Lancer orders require innovative approaches to identifying and developing the specialized skills required for aviation operations. Unlike ground combat or research work, which can build upon skills and knowledge that many Brotherhood members already possess, aviation requires technical expertise and psychological traits that are relatively rare among wasteland populations. The success of Lancer recruitment depends on identifying individuals with the potential for aviation careers and providing them with comprehensive training that transforms their basic aptitudes into operational competencies. The technological worship that characterizes broader Brotherhood culture finds unique expression within the Lancer orders, where reverence for advanced machinery combines with the practical intimacy that develops between pilots and their aircraft. Lancers understand their vertibirds not merely as tools or weapons, but as partners in the dangerous work of aviation, mechanical beings whose moods and capabilities must be respected and understood for successful operations. The maintenance philosophy that guides Lancer technical operations emphasizes preventive care and systematic attention to detail that reflects both practical necessity and quasi-religious devotion to technological preservation. Each component inspection, every routine maintenance task, and all repair operations are conducted with the understanding that the lives of flight crews and the success of Brotherhood missions depend on the reliability and performance of equipment that must function flawlessly in demanding conditions. As darkness settles over Brotherhood installations and the last flights of the day return to their bases, Lancer personnel gather in ready rooms and maintenance hangars to debrief the day's operations, share experiences, and prepare for tomorrow's missions. Their conversations blend technical discussions about aircraft performance with tactical analysis of mission execution, creating a continuous learning environment that strengthens individual competencies while building collective expertise. The unique brotherhood that exists within the Lancer orders transcends traditional military hierarchy to create bonds of mutual dependence and shared risk that characterize aviation communities throughout history. Pilots whose lives depend on the skill of their colleagues, maintenance crews whose work directly affects flight safety, and commanders whose decisions determine mission success develop relationships based on professional competence and personal trust that strengthen the entire organization. In the quiet hours before dawn, when vertibirds sit silent on their landing pads and maintenance crews conduct final preparations for the day's first missions, the Lancer orders stand ready to extend Brotherhood influence across the vast distances of the wasteland, carrying the flame of civilization to communities that might otherwise remain isolated from the technological renaissance that marks their organization's greatest achievement. At the threshold between civilian life and Brotherhood service, between the world of wasteland survival and the disciplined ranks of technological crusaders, stands the rank of initiate, a position that represents both ending and beginning, the final abandonment of old loyalties and the first embrace of new purpose. Here, at this crucial juncture in human transformation, individuals from across the wasteland make the momentous decision to surrender their independence in exchange for belonging to something greater than themselves, trading the uncertainty of solitary existence for the security and meaning that comes with service to the Brotherhood's sacred mission. The path to initiate status varies dramatically depending on the individual's background and the specific needs of the Brotherhood chapter they seek to join. For those who have progressed through the ranks as squires, the transition represents a natural evolution from childhood preparation to adult responsibility, marking their acceptance as full participants in Brotherhood society. But for outsiders, the wastelanders who have lived their entire lives in the chaos and uncertainty of post-war existence, becoming an initiate represents a fundamental transformation of identity that challenges every assumption they have made about themselves and their place in the world. The recruitment of wasteland initiates reflects the Brotherhood's growing recognition that their mission requires human resources beyond what their own population can provide. Despite the comprehensive education and indoctrination that Brotherhood children receive, simple mathematics demonstrates that natural population growth cannot sustain an organization committed to active engagement with the numerous threats and challenges that characterize post-war existence. The decision to open their ranks to outsiders represents both practical necessity and strategic evolution, acknowledging that the Brotherhood's mission benefits from the diverse perspectives and experiences that external recruits can provide. The screening process for potential wasteland initiates is comprehensive and unforgiving, designed to identify individuals who possess not only the basic capabilities required for military service, but the psychological flexibility necessary to adapt to Brotherhood culture and values. Candidates undergo extensive interviews that explore their motivations, background experiences, and fundamental beliefs about technology, authority, and human nature. They submit to physical examinations that assess their health and fitness for the demanding lifestyle that Brotherhood membership requires. Most importantly, they demonstrate their commitment through actions rather than words, proving their dedication through performance of increasingly challenging tasks that test their reliability, courage, and willingness to place group welfare above personal interest. The psychological evaluation component of initiate selection focuses particularly on the candidate's relationship with technology and their capacity for the reverent attitude that characterizes Brotherhood culture. Individuals who view advanced machinery as mere tools or who approach pre-war artifacts with casual indifference are unlikely to develop the quasi-religious devotion that enables effective service in an organization built around technological worship. Successful candidates demonstrate curiosity about how things work, respect for the achievements of the past, and understanding that knowledge represents humanity's most precious inheritance. The military aptitude testing that accompanies psychological evaluation serves multiple purposes, identifying not only whether candidates possess the basic physical and mental capabilities required for Brotherhood service, but which specialization might best utilize their particular talents and interests. Some recruits demonstrate the analytical thinking and patience required for scribe work. Others show the mechanical aptitude that suits them for technical support roles, and still others display the leadership potential and combat instincts that mark them as future knights or paladins. The period of basic training that follows acceptance into initiate status represents perhaps the most challenging phase of Brotherhood membership for wasteland recruits, requiring them to abandon the survival strategies and social patterns that have sustained them throughout their pre-Brotherhood existence. The transition from the individualistic mindset of wasteland survival to the collective orientation of military service creates psychological stress that tests even the most motivated recruits. forcing them to develop new reflexes and responses that often contradict the instincts that kept them alive in their previous circumstances. The physical conditioning component of initiate training transforms bodies that have adapted to the erratic demands of wasteland existence into instruments capable of sustained military operations. The irregular nutrition and episodic physical challenges that characterize post-war survival create fitness patterns that differ significantly from the consistent strength and endurance required for effective military service. Initiate training addresses these deficiencies through carefully structured exercise programs that build cardiovascular capacity, muscular strength, and the kind of physical resilience that enables soldiers to function effectively despite fatigue, stress, and adverse conditions. Weapons training for new initiates encompasses not only the technical skills required to operate Brotherhood equipment effectively, but the mental discipline necessary to employ lethal force in service of organizational objectives. Many Wasteland recruits arrive with extensive experience in personal combat, but the violence they have employed for survival differs fundamentally from the controlled application of force that characterizes military operations. Learning to kill on command, to apply precisely measured violence in support of strategic goals, and to subordinate personal emotions to tactical requirements represents a psychological transformation that challenges basic assumptions about morality and individual agency. The tactical education that accompanies individual weapons training initiates to the complex coordination required for effective military operations, teaching them to function as components of larger units rather than independent actors. The small unit tactics that characterize Brotherhood ground operations require individuals to sacrifice personal safety and tactical advantage for the benefit of group effectiveness, trusting their lives to the competence and dedication of colleagues whose capabilities they may not fully understand or appreciate. The technological indoctrination that permeates all aspects of initiate training serves to reshape fundamental attitudes about the relationship between humanity and its technological inheritance. Recruits learn to view pre-war artifacts not as curiosities or sources of valuable salvage, but as sacred relics that connect them to the civilization that created them. They develop appreciation for the complexity and sophistication of advanced technology, understanding that the simple act of maintaining a laser rifle or power armor system requires knowledge and skills that represent centuries of accumulated human achievement. The cultural education component of initiate training introduces new recruits to the history, traditions, and values that define Brotherhood identity, helping them understand their place within a larger narrative of technological preservation and human advancement. They learn about Roger Maxon and the founding of the Brotherhood, study the major conflicts and achievements that have shaped their organization's development, and internalize the philosophical principles that guide Brotherhood decision-making and strategic planning. The hierarchy and discipline training that characterizes initiate education serves multiple purposes, teaching new recruits not only how to follow orders effectively, but how to give them appropriately when their own advancement creates leadership responsibilities. The chain that binds philosophy becomes more than abstract principle during this phase of training, transforming into practical guidelines for interaction with superiors, peers, and subordinates that enable complex organizations to function smoothly despite the stress and chaos of military operations. The evaluation process that determines an initiate's eventual specialization takes into account not only demonstrated aptitudes and preferences, but the current needs of the chapter and the long-term strategic requirements of Brotherhood operations. Some initiates who might prefer combat roles are assigned to technical positions because their particular skills address critical organizational needs. Others who assumed they would pursue scholarly careers find themselves assigned to military units because their leadership potential and tactical understanding make them valuable additions to combat forces. The sponsorship system that governs initiate advancement reflects the Brotherhood's commitment to personal mentorship and professional development, ensuring that new members receive individual attention and guidance during their transition to full Brotherhood status. Experienced knights and paladins who serve as sponsors take personal responsibility for their charge's success, providing not only technical instruction and tactical guidance, but emotional support during the difficult period when new recruits adapt to Brotherhood culture and expectations. The progression from initiate to knight represents a fundamental transformation in status and responsibility within Brotherhood society, marking an individual's acceptance as a trusted member of the organization's military forces and their readiness to take on the demanding roles that characterize active service. The ceremony that accompanies this advancement emphasizes both the achievement that promotion represents and the increased expectations that come with full membership in the Brotherhood's warrior class. Knights represent the backbone of Brotherhood military forces, the dedicated soldiers whose competence and reliability enable complex operations across the dangerous territory of the post-war world. Their training encompasses not only the technical skills required for combat effectiveness, but the strategic understanding necessary to accomplish missions that serve broader organizational objectives. They learn to think beyond immediate tactical concerns, considering how their actions contribute to the Brotherhood's long-term goals of technological preservation and regional stabilization. The equipment that knights receive upon promotion reflects both the Brotherhood's commitment to providing their personnel with superior tools and the trust that the organization places in individuals who have proven their dedication and competence. Power armor systems, advanced weapons, and sophisticated communication devices transform knights into technological warriors whose capabilities far exceed those of most wasteland combatants, but also create responsibilities for equipment maintenance and proper employment that extend beyond simple combat effectiveness. The diverse roles that knights fulfill within Brotherhood operations reflect the organization's recognition that military effectiveness requires more than simply combat capability. Some knights serve in logistics roles, managing the complex supply chains that keep Brotherhood forces properly equipped and supported. Others specialize in intelligence gathering, reconnaissance, and communication duties that provide commanders with the information necessary for effective decision-making. Still others focus on training and educational responsibilities, passing on their knowledge and experience to newer members of the organization. Knight Lucius exemplifies the logistics specialization that characterizes many Brotherhood personnel, his assignment to supply depot management demonstrating how military ranks can encompass a wide range of non-combat responsibilities. His work ensuring that Brotherhood members have access to necessary weapons, resources, and supplies requires technical expertise in inventory management, understanding of organizational needs and priorities, and the administrative skills necessary to coordinate complex distribution operations across multiple locations and operational requirements. The combat specialization represented by knights like Reese illustrates the more traditional military role that many Brotherhood personnel fulfill, serving as the armed force that protects organizational interests and eliminates threats to Brotherhood security. These warriors undergo extensive tactical training that prepares them for the diverse combat environments they may encounter, from urban warfare in ruined cities to wilderness operations in contaminated zones where environmental hazards compound the dangers posed by hostile forces. The flexibility of knight assignments reflects the Brotherhood's practical approach to human resource management, recognizing that individual capabilities and organizational needs may change over time in ways that require personnel to adapt to new roles and responsibilities. Knights, who begin their careers in combat positions, may transition to administrative duties as they gain experience and demonstrate aptitude for management responsibilities. Those who start in support roles may move to operational assignments when their specialized knowledge becomes valuable for field missions. The advancement to Knight Sergeant marks the first step toward formal leadership responsibility within the Brotherhood military hierarchy, requiring individuals to develop the interpersonal skills and tactical understanding necessary to command small units effectively. Knight Sergeants typically lead squads of 5 or fewer personnel, serving as the critical interface between individual soldiers and higher-level commanders, while maintaining direct responsibility for mission, execution, and personnel welfare. The squad leadership responsibilities of Knight Sergeants encompass both tactical command during operations and administrative oversight during non-operational periods. They plan and execute small unit missions, coordinate with other elements of larger operations, and ensure that their subordinates receive the training and support necessary for effective performance. Their decisions directly affect mission success and personnel safety, making them crucial links in the chain of command that connects strategic planning with tactical execution. The training responsibilities that accompany Knight Sergeant status reflect the Brotherhood's commitment to continuous professional development and knowledge transfer throughout their organization. Knight Sergeants conduct both formal instruction sessions and informal mentoring relationships that help junior personnel develop the skills and knowledge necessary for advancement. They serve as role models whose professional conduct and personal dedication demonstrate the standards expected of Brotherhood personnel. Knight Sergeant Gavel's command of the airport supply depot illustrates how leadership positions within the Brotherhood can encompass both military command and facility management responsibilities. His duties require not only the tactical skills necessary to defend the installation against potential threats, but the administrative competence needed to manage complex logistics operations that support Brotherhood forces across a wide geographic area. The welfare responsibilities that Knight Sergeants assume for their subordinates extend beyond simple command authority to encompass personal mentorship and professional advocacy that helps junior personnel navigate the challenges of, quote, Brotherhood service. They monitor the performance and well-being of their charges, identify personnel who may be struggling with their duties or adapting poorly to Brotherhood culture, and provide the intervention and support necessary to address problems before they compromise operational effectiveness. The disciplinary authority that Knight Sergeants exercise requires them to balance firm enforcement of Brotherhood standards with understanding of the human factors that may contribute to performance problems or behavioral issues. Their actions in addressing misconduct or inadequate performance can significantly affect not only individual careers but unit cohesion and effectiveness, making their judgment and fairness crucial components of successful leadership. The progression to Knight Captain represents a significant advancement in responsibility and authority, marking an individual's transition from tactical leadership to strategic planning and operational command. Knight Captains typically hold staff positions or command larger units, their decisions affecting multiple squads or entire operational areas while requiring coordination with other elements of Brotherhood command structure. Knight Captain Larson's command of the Arcadia expedition demonstrates the operational authority that characterizes this level of Brotherhood leadership. His responsibility for planning and executing a complex mission that required coordination between multiple specialized units while achieving strategic objectives that served broader organizational goals. His success in this assignment reflects both personal competence and the effectiveness of Brotherhood training and development systems that prepare personnel for increasingly challenging responsibilities. The staff roles that many Knight Captains fulfill require different skills than direct command positions, emphasizing analytical thinking, strategic planning, and coordination abilities rather than tactical leadership and combat effectiveness. These personnel serve as the link between senior commanders who establish overall objectives and junior officers who execute specific missions, translating strategic goals into operational plans while ensuring that resource allocation and timing considerations enable successful mission accomplishment. The Lion's Pride represents an interesting example of how Brotherhood rank structure can accommodate specialized units whose mission requirements differ from standard organizational patterns. The 3 Knight Captains who serve in this elite formation hold their rank not because they command traditional tactical units, but because their specialized capabilities and operational importance merit recognition through advanced rank structure. The medical specialization represented by Knight Captain Cade illustrates how the Brotherhood adapts its rank structure to accommodate professional expertise that may not fit traditional military hierarchies. His position as Chief Medical Officer for Commonwealth Operations requires not only clinical competence but administrative authority sufficient to ensure that medical standards and procedures are maintained throughout Brotherhood forces operating in the region. The commissioning of medical personnel as Knight Captains reflects practical recognition that healthcare providers need sufficient military authority to enforce their professional judgments without interference from personnel who may not understand the medical implications of their decisions. This approach ensures that health and safety standards are maintained at levels necessary for effective operations while providing medical personnel with the status and authority necessary to fulfill their professional responsibilities. The advancement to Knight Commander represents the pinnacle of standard Brotherhood military hierarchy, marking individuals who have demonstrated exceptional competence in both tactical leadership and strategic planning while maintaining the personal qualities that inspire confidence and loyalty among their subordinates. Knight Commanders serve as the primary interface between Brotherhood military forces and senior leadership, translating strategic objectives into operational plans while providing feedback about capabilities and limitations that affect high-level decision-making. The operational command responsibilities of Knight Commanders encompass both direct leadership of large tactical units and staff oversight of complex operations that may involve multiple specializations and geographic areas. They coordinate between different elements of Brotherhood forces, ensure that resource allocation supports mission requirements, and adapt to changing conditions that may require modification of original operational concepts. The proximity to Paladin status that characterizes Knight Commander positions creates unique pressures and opportunities for personnel at this level, as their performance directly affects their potential for advancement to the Brotherhood's elite warrior class. The transition from Knight Commander to Paladin represents not simply promotion within existing hierarchy, but elevation to a fundamentally different level of Brotherhood society, with corresponding changes in responsibility, authority, and organizational expectations. The field leadership that Knight Commanders provide during major operations requires them to balance multiple competing priorities while maintaining the tactical awareness necessary for effective decision-making under stress. They must consider not only immediate mission requirements but longer-term strategic implications, personnel welfare, equipment conservation, and the political considerations that may affect Brotherhood relationships with other organizations and communities. The command posts that Knight Commanders often hold in vital Brotherhood installations reflect the organization's confidence in their judgment and leadership capabilities. These positions require not only military competence but diplomatic skills, administrative abilities, and the strategic thinking necessary to manage complex operations that may affect Brotherhood interests across wide geographic areas. The transition from Knight Commander to Paladin represents one of the most significant promotions possible within Brotherhood hierarchy, elevating exceptional military leaders to the organization's elite warrior class. This advancement marks not only recognition of superior combat effectiveness and tactical leadership, but acceptance into a brotherhood within the Brotherhood, a select group of individuals whose capabilities and dedication represent the highest standards of military excellence. Paladins embody the martial ideal of the Brotherhood of Steel, combining advanced combat capabilities with strategic thinking and moral authority that enables them to serve as both battlefield commanders and organizational leaders. Their distinctive black power armor serves not only as protection but as a symbol of their elite status, marking them as the cream of Brotherhood forces while providing them with equipment that matches their exceptional capabilities. The equipment privileges that accompany Paladin status reflect the Brotherhood's commitment to providing their elite personnel with the finest tools available, ensuring that their superior training and experience are supported by technological advantages that enable them to accomplish missions that would be impossible for less capable forces. Advanced power armor systems, cutting-edge weapons, and sophisticated support equipment transform Paladins into one-person armies whose effectiveness in combat situations far exceeds their numerical strength. The command responsibilities that characterize Paladin positions require individuals who can inspire confidence and loyalty among their subordinates while making tactical and strategic decisions under extreme stress. Paladins typically lead combined arms teams that include knights, squires, and specialized personnel from different Brotherhood branches, requiring leadership skills that encompass not only military command but personnel management and operational coordination. Paladin Dance's command of Recon Squad Gladius exemplifies the small unit leadership that characterizes many Paladin assignments. His responsibility for a specialized team conducting intelligence gathering and reconnaissance operations in hostile territory. His success in this role demonstrates both personal combat effectiveness and the leadership qualities necessary to maintain unit cohesion and mission focus, despite the isolation and danger that characterize deep reconnaissance. Operations. The reconnaissance specialization that Dance represents illustrates how Paladin assignments often combine elite combat capabilities with specialized mission requirements that demand particular expertise and experience. Reconnaissance operations require not only superior fighting skills but tactical intelligence, environmental awareness, and the kind of independent judgment necessary for success in situations where communication with higher headquarters may be impossible or compromised. The tactical flexibility that characterizes successful Paladins enables them to adapt to rapidly changing operational conditions while maintaining focus on strategic objectives that may not be immediately obvious to their Paladins. Subordinates. Their training emphasizes not only technical competence but creative problem-solving and the ability to accomplish missions despite equipment failures, personnel casualties, and unexpected enemy capabilities. The mentorship responsibilities that many Paladins assume for junior Brotherhood personnel reflect the organization's commitment to professional development and knowledge transfer throughout their hierarchy. Experienced Paladins serve as role models and instructors whose expertise helps shape the next generation of Brotherhood leaders while ensuring that hard-won tactical knowledge and strategic insights are preserved and passed on. The advancement to Paladin Commander represents recognition of exceptional leadership capabilities combined with strategic thinking that enables senior personnel to plan and execute complex operations involving multiple units and diverse objectives. Paladin commanders serve as the primary tactical advisors to Brotherhood senior leadership while maintaining direct responsibility for major operational commands that may determine the success or failure of entire campaigns. The operational planning responsibilities of Paladin commanders require them to consider not only immediate tactical requirements but longer-term strategic implications of their decisions, coordinating with intelligence personnel, logistics specialists, and other branch representatives to ensure that operational concepts are feasible and properly supported. Their decisions affect not only mission success but personnel safety, resource allocation, and Brotherhood relationships with other organizations and communities. The respect that Paladin commanders command throughout Brotherhood hierarchy reflects both their demonstrated competence and the crucial role they play in translating strategic objectives into successful military operations. Their recommendations carry significant weight in planning processes. Their assessment of enemy capabilities and friendly limitations affects resource allocation decisions, and their tactical innovations often become standard procedures that improve effectiveness throughout Brotherhood forces. The rarity of Paladin commander positions and their reluctance to engage in field operations reflects the Brotherhood's recognition that these individuals represent irreplaceable resources whose loss would significantly affect organizational capabilities. Their accumulated experience, tactical expertise, and strategic understanding make them more valuable as planners and advisors than as combat participants, though their legendary effectiveness in battle remains an important component of their authority and influence. The behind-the-scenes nature of much Paladin commander work requires individuals who can find satisfaction in enabling others' success rather than seeking personal recognition for their contributions. Their planning and coordination efforts create the conditions for successful operations, but the visible achievements typically belong to the field commanders and combat personnel who execute their concepts. The head Paladin position represents the culmination of military achievement within Brotherhood hierarchy, marking individuals whose combination of combat effectiveness, tactical genius, and strategic vision qualifies them to serve as supreme military commanders for their chapters. The head Paladin serves as the primary military advisor to the Elder while maintaining direct responsibility for all combat operations and military personnel within their jurisdiction. The comprehensive military authority that characterizes head Paladin positions requires individuals who can effectively coordinate between different specializations and branches while maintaining the tactical awareness necessary for successful operational command. They must balance competing demands for resources and personnel, coordinate with civilian authorities and allied organizations, and provide the strategic guidance necessary for long-term mission success. The succession planning implications of head Paladin positions create unique pressures for personnel at this level, as their performance and demonstrated capabilities directly affect their potential advancement to Elder status. The transition from military commander to organizational leader requires development of political skills and strategic vision that may differ significantly from the tactical focus that characterized their previous career progression. The relationship between head paladins and their elders requires careful balance between military advice and civilian authority, ensuring that tactical recommendations support strategic objectives while maintaining appropriate deference to political leadership. This relationship becomes particularly complex when military and civilian priorities appear to conflict, requiring diplomatic skills and strategic thinking that transcends pure military considerations. The training and development responsibilities that head paladins assume for all military personnel within their chapters encompass both individual professional development and organizational capability building that affects long-term Brotherhood effectiveness. Their decisions about training priorities, equipment allocation, and personnel assignments shape the capabilities and readiness of their forces, while influencing the career development of junior personnel throughout the military hierarchy. The Star Paladin designation represents a unique accommodation within Brotherhood hierarchy, recognizing exceptional individuals whose capabilities and contributions merit elite status despite their preference for operational independence rather than command authority. Star Paladins serve as special mission specialists, whose freedom of action enables them to accomplish objectives that would be difficult or impossible within normal command structures. The operational independence that characterizes Star Paladin positions reflects the Brotherhood's recognition that some individuals perform most effectively when freed from routine command responsibilities and administrative duties that may constrain their unique capabilities. This independence enables Star Paladins to pursue objectives that serve Brotherhood interests without requiring detailed coordination with other elements or adherence to standard operational procedures. Star Paladin Cross's role as Elder Lion's bodyguard and independent operator illustrates how this position can combine personal protection duties with broader mission responsibilities that serve organizational objectives. Her freedom to operate independently throughout the capital wasteland enables her to accomplish missions that support Brotherhood goals while maintaining the security responsibilities that her bodyguard role requires. The discretionary authority that Star Paladins exercise requires individuals whose judgment and dedication can be trusted without direct supervision or detailed guidance from superior officers. Their decisions directly affect Brotherhood interests and reputation, making their selection and continued evaluation crucial components of organizational effectiveness and security. The advancement pathway that Elder Owen Lyons followed from Star Paladin to Elder demonstrates how this position can serve as preparation for ultimate organizational leadership, providing individuals with the independent experience and strategic perspective necessary for effective command of entire chapters. The operational freedom that characterizes Star Paladin positions enables potential leaders to develop the judgment and vision necessary for elder-level responsibilities. The balance between individual effectiveness and organizational integration that Star Paladins must maintain requires exceptional personal qualities that combine tactical competence with strategic understanding and political sensitivity. Their actions reflect not only on their personal capabilities but on Brotherhood values and priorities, making their conduct and achievements important components of organizational reputation and influence. As night falls over Brotherhood installations and Paladin forces return from their missions across the wasteland, these elite warriors carry with them the satisfaction of another day's service in defense of humanity's technological heritage and civilizational future. Their distinctive armor bears the scars of combat and the insignia of achievement, marking them as the chosen few who have earned the right to stand at the forefront of the Brotherhood's sacred mission. In the quiet hours when weapons are cleaned and maintained, when after-action reports are written and filed, when the business of war gives way to the contemplation of purpose and meaning, Paladins reflect on the weight of responsibility they carry and the trust that has been placed in their capabilities. They are the sword of the Brotherhood, the sharp edge of organizational will, the instruments through which technological superiority becomes tactical reality and strategic vision becomes accomplished fact. The bonds of Brotherhood that unite these elite warriors transcend formal hierarchy and organizational structure, creating relationships of mutual respect and shared purpose that strengthen both individual effectiveness and collective capability. They understand that their success depends not only on personal competence, but on the support and dedication of their colleagues, creating networks of loyalty and cooperation that enhance organizational resilience and mission effectiveness. Tomorrow will bring new challenges and new opportunities to serve the cause that has given meaning and purpose to their lives. To protect the innocent and preserve the knowledge that represents humanity's best hope for recovery from the devastation of nuclear war. In their dedication and sacrifice, in their competence and courage, the true spirit of the Brotherhood of Steel lives on, carried forward by the elite warriors who have earned the right to bear the title of Paladin in service to civilization's continuing struggle against the forces of chaos and ignorance that threaten to extinguish the flame of human achievement forever. Above all the ranks and stations that define Brotherhood hierarchy, beyond the reach of normal military advancement and organizational politics, stands the singular position of Sentinel, a rank so elevated and extraordinary that it exists almost outside the traditional structure of command, answering only to the Elder and the High Elder Council itself. The Sentinel represents the absolute pinnacle of military achievement within the Brotherhood, a position reserved for individuals whose combination of tactical genius, unwavering loyalty, And legendary combat effectiveness transcends normal categories of excellence to approach something resembling mythological status. The rarity of the Sentinel rank reflects not arbitrary limitation, but the simple reality that so few individuals possess the exceptional qualities necessary to fulfill its unique requirements and responsibilities. Unlike other positions in Brotherhood hierarchy that may remain vacant until suitable candidates demonstrate readiness for advancement, the Sentinel rank remains unfilled when no member of the organization meets the extraordinary standards that the position demands. This practice acknowledges that the role requires not merely competence or even excellence, but a combination of abilities so rare that entire generations of Brotherhood service may pass without producing anyone worthy of the title. The selection process for Sentinel, when it occurs at all, involves considerations that transcend normal promotion criteria to encompass intangible qualities of character and capability that resist systematic evaluation. Potential Sentinels must demonstrate not only supreme combat effectiveness and tactical brilliance, but the kind of inspirational leadership that enables them to command absolute loyalty from subordinates while earning the complete trust of their elder. They must possess the strategic vision necessary to operate independently across vast distances while remaining perfectly aligned with organizational objectives and values. The freedom of action that characterizes Sentinel authority represents perhaps the most significant privilege available within Brotherhood structure, enabling these exceptional individuals to pursue objectives and employ methods that would require extensive authorization and oversight for personnel at any other level. This operational independence reflects the Elder's complete confidence in the Sentinel's judgment, dedication, and capability, granting them latitude to act on their own initiative in situations where traditional command structures might prove inadequate or too slow to respond effectively. The trust that elders place in their sentinels extends beyond simple military authority to encompass representation of the elder's will and values throughout the chapter's area of operations. Sentinels serve as extensions of their elder's authority, their decisions and actions carrying the weight of direct command even when operating far from headquarters or in situations where direct communication is impossible. This relationship requires not only personal loyalty, but philosophical alignment that enables Sentinels to anticipate their elders' preferences and priorities in novel situations. The manifestation of elder will that Sentinels represent in their operational activities requires them to embody the values and objectives of their organization so completely that their independent actions naturally serve Brotherhood interests without requiring specific guidance or oversight. This level of integration between individual identity and organizational mission represents a form of dedication that few people achieve in any context, requiring Sentinels to subordinate personal preferences and ambitions to the service of something greater than themselves. The command authority that Sentinels exercise throughout their chapters transcends normal hierarchical limitations, enabling them to issue orders and direct operations across all branches and specializations of Brotherhood activity. Knights, paladins, scribes, and lancers all acknowledge Sentinel authority regardless of their normal chain of command, recognizing that these exceptional individuals speak with the voice of the Elder himself when pursuing their assigned missions. The respect and loyalty that Sentinels command among Brotherhood personnel reflects not only their formal authority but their demonstrated capabilities and achievements that have earned them legendary status within their organizations. Their reputation for tactical brilliance, personal courage, and unwavering dedication creates an aura of competence and reliability that inspires confidence among subordinates, while intimidating potential enemies who understand the implications of facing someone who has achieved Sentinel rank. Sarah Lyons exemplified the Sentinel ideal during her tenure in that position, her command of the Lion's Pride representing the perfect fusion of elite combat capability with inspirational leadership that characterized the rank at its finest. Her ability to recruit and train the most skilled warriors available while maintaining unit cohesion and effectiveness under the most challenging conditions demonstrated the kind of exceptional leadership that justifies the extraordinary authority that Sentinels wield. The Lion's Pride under Sarah's command became more than simply an elite military unit. It evolved into a symbol of Brotherhood excellence and a demonstration of what dedicated warriors could achieve when led by someone whose capabilities matched the legendary standards associated with Sentinel rank. The squad's reputation for undertaking the most dangerous missions and achieving success where other units had failed reflected not only individual member competence, but the transformative effect of exceptional leadership on packed organizational performance. The freedom that Sarah Lyons enjoyed to create her own squadron and choose its missions demonstrated the practical implementation of Sentinel authority, showing how these exceptional individuals could adapt Brotherhood resources and capabilities to meet the specific challenges they encountered in their operational areas. Her decisions about recruitment, training, and mission selection reflected her understanding of both immediate tactical requirements and longer-term strategic objectives that served Brotherhood interests. The tactical innovations that emerged from Leon's Pride operations under Sarah's leadership contributed to Brotherhood doctrine and methodology in ways that extended far beyond their immediate military impact. Her squad's success in urban combat, their development of small unit tactics for fighting supermutants, and their integration of different specializations into effective combined arms teams provided lessons that influenced Brotherhood operations throughout the capital wasteland and beyond. The personal combat effectiveness that characterized Sarah Lyons' leadership style represented the warrior aspect of Sentinel capability, demonstrating that these exceptional individuals could not only plan and direct operations, but participate in them with effectiveness that matched or exceeded their most capable subordinates. This personal example provided credibility and inspiration that enabled her to maintain the respect and loyalty of elite warriors who might otherwise question orders from commanders who did not share the dangers of frontline combat. The transition from Sarah Lyons' tenure as Sentinel to the subsequent vacancy in the position illustrates the challenge that Brotherhood leadership faces in maintaining continuity at the highest levels of military command. Her advancement to elder status created an opening that apparently remained unfilled for years, suggesting that no other individual in the East Coast chapter possessed the combination of qualities necessary to serve effectively as Sentinel under the new organizational structure. Elder Maxon's observation that it had been many years since a Sentinel served under him reflects both the rarity of individuals qualified for the position and the particular challenges of leadership during the transitional period that followed the consolidation of East Coast Brotherhood operations. The political and military complexities of integrating different Brotherhood factions while pursuing aggressive expansion into new territories may have required leadership approaches that were incompatible with the independent operational style that characterizes traditional Sentinel authority. The heir apparent status that Sentinels traditionally hold within Brotherhood hierarchy creates unique pressures and expectations for individuals who achieve this rank, as their performance and demonstrated capabilities directly influence their potential advancement to elder positions. The knowledge that Sentinels are considered natural successors to elder authority affects both their own career development and the political dynamics within their chapters. The succession planning implications of Sentinel positions require these individuals to develop not only military expertise, but the political skills and strategic vision necessary for effective organizational leadership. Their exposure to chapter-wide operations and direct relationship with elder-level decision-making provides them with insights into the complexities of Brotherhood governance that prepare them for eventual advancement to supreme command positions. The burden of expectation that accompanies Sentinel status extends beyond simple military effectiveness to encompass moral authority and inspirational leadership that enables these individuals to serve as role models for all Brotherhood personnel. Their conduct and achievements become benchmarks against which other members measure their own performance and aspirations, creating additional pressure for excellence that transcends normal professional requirements. The isolation that can characterize Sentinel service reflects the unique position these individuals occupy within Brotherhood hierarchy, elevated above normal command structures but not yet invested with the ultimate authority of elder rank. This intermediate status can create social and professional challenges as Sentinels navigate relationships with subordinates who may view them as remote figures, while working with elders who may see them as potential rivals or successors. The tactical expertise that Sentinels must demonstrate encompasses not only conventional military operations, but the specialized challenges of post-war combat, including engagement with super mutants, hostile technology, and the environmental hazards that characterize wasteland warfare. Their understanding of these unique conditions enables them to develop innovative approaches to problems that conventional military doctrine might not address effectively. The strategic thinking required for effective Sentinel performance extends beyond immediate tactical considerations to encompass the broader implications of military actions for Brotherhood relationships with other organizations, civilian populations, and the long-term objectives that guide organizational development. Sentinels must consider not only whether particular operations can be accomplished successfully, but whether their success serves the larger mission of technological preservation and civilizational advancement. The tenacious fighting spirit that characterizes successful Sentinels reflects both personal courage and the kind of unwavering commitment to Brotherhood values that enables these individuals to persist in the face of overwhelming odds or seemingly impossible challenges. Their reputation for never surrendering or abandoning their missions provides psychological advantages that can be as valuable as superior equipment or numerical superiority in determining the outcome of critical engagements. The inspirational leadership that Sentinels provide to their subordinates creates multiplier effects that enhance the capabilities of entire units beyond what their individual members might achieve under different leadership. The confidence that comes from serving under a Sentinel can transform ordinary Brotherhood personnel into exceptional warriors whose performance exceeds their normal limitations through the motivation and guidance that legendary leadership provides. The loyalty that Sentinels inspire among their troops extends beyond normal military relationships to encompass personal devotion that strengthens unit cohesion and effectiveness during the most challenging operations. This loyalty reflects not only respect for Sentinel capabilities, but appreciation for leaders who share the dangers of combat, while demonstrating consistent concern for subordinate welfare and professional development. The elder confident status that Sentinels hold within their chapters requires them to balance loyalty to current leadership with the independent judgment necessary for effective operational command. This relationship demands exceptional personal qualities that enable Sentinels to serve faithfully while maintaining the intellectual honesty necessary to provide accurate assessments and candid advice that may sometimes contradict elder preferences or assumptions. The legendary status that successful Sentinels achieve within Brotherhood culture creates expectations and pressures that extend far beyond normal military service. As these individuals become symbols of organizational excellence, whose reputation can influence recruitment, morale, and public perception of Brotherhood capabilities. Their achievements become part of organizational mythology that shapes Brotherhood identity and provides inspiration for future generations of members. The best of the best designation that characterizes Sentinel rank reflects not only individual achievement, but the rigorous selection and development processes that identify and prepare exceptional individuals for these crucial roles. The standards applied to potential Sentinels encompass every aspect of military and personal excellence, ensuring that only those who demonstrate consistent superiority across multiple dimensions of capability can aspire to this ultimate recognition. At the apex of Brotherhood hierarchy, bearing ultimate responsibility for the welfare and mission success of entire chapters, stands the position of Elder, a rank that combines supreme military authority with political leadership and spiritual guidance in service of the technological crusade that defines organizational purpose. Elders represent the culmination of Brotherhood career advancement, typically achieving their positions through decades of dedicated service that demonstrate not only exceptional competence but the wisdom and judgment necessary to guide complex organizations through the challenges of post-war existence. The path to Elder status most commonly follows progression through Paladin ranks, reflecting the Brotherhood's traditional emphasis on military excellence and combat leadership as preparation for supreme command responsibilities. However, the organization's recognition that effective leadership requires diverse forms of expertise has occasionally resulted in the elevation of individuals from other branches. Acknowledging that scholarly achievement or technical innovation can provide foundations for organizational leadership that complement or sometimes exceed purely military qualifications. Elder Elijah's appointment from the ranks of head scribes illustrates both the flexibility of Brotherhood promotion practices and the challenges that can arise when individuals with exceptional technical expertise assume positions that require different forms of leadership capability. His classification as a genius in technological matters provided clear justification for his advancement, but the controversial nature of his tenure demonstrates that intellectual brilliance does not automatically translate into effective organizational management or strategic vision. The controversy surrounding Elijah's leadership reflected fundamental tensions between the pursuit of technological advancement and the practical requirements of chapter management, illustrating how individual expertise in one area may not provide adequate preparation for the diverse responsibilities that characterize Elder authority. His obsession with particular research projects and tendency to prioritize technological objectives over personnel welfare created conflicts that ultimately undermined his effectiveness as an organizational leader. The breadth of power that elders exercise within their chapters encompasses every aspect of Brotherhood activity, from strategic planning and resource allocation to personnel policy and relationships with external organizations. Their edicts carry the weight of absolute authority within their jurisdictions, shaping not only immediate operational decisions, but the long-term culture and development of their chapters in ways that can persist for generations. The policy-making authority that characterizes elder positions enables these leaders to adapt Brotherhood doctrine and practices to the specific conditions and challenges they encounter in their operational areas, creating variations in organizational culture and methodology that reflect different leadership philosophies and environmental requirements. This flexibility allows the Brotherhood to maintain relevance and effectiveness across diverse geographic and political contexts while preserving core values and objectives. Elder McNamara's progressive approach to super-mutant relations demonstrates how individual elder philosophy can shape chapter policy in ways that reflect both practical assessment of local conditions and personal values about the peace. Brotherhood's role in post-war society. His decision to maintain neutrality toward peaceful super-mutant communities represented a significant departure from traditional Brotherhood doctrine, reflecting his judgment that circumstances in the Mojave required more nuanced approaches than rigid adherence to established policies might provide. The community relations implications of McNamara's policies illustrate how elder decisions can affect Brotherhood reputation and influence beyond the immediate military or strategic consequences of particular actions. His recognition that Marcus's leadership had created a stable, peaceful super-mutant community enabled the establishment of cooperative relationships that served Brotherhood interests while demonstrating organizational capacity for adaptation and growth. Owen Lyons represents another example of how elder philosophy can diverge from traditional Brotherhood doctrine when local conditions and personal conviction combine to create pressures for organizational evolution. His decision to prioritize wasteland humanitarian missions over pure technology recovery reflected both strategic assessment of capital wasteland conditions and personal commitment to values that extended beyond narrow organizational interests. The excommunication that Lyons faced from the High Elder Council demonstrates the tensions between chapter autonomy and organizational unity that characterize Brotherhood governance, illustrating how individual elder authority can conflict with broader institutional priorities and expectations. His willingness to risk organizational censure in service of principles he considered more important than traditional doctrine shows both the moral authority that elders can wield and the personal courage required to challenge institutional orthodoxy. The deviations from core mission that characterized Lyons' leadership created internal conflicts that ultimately resulted in the outcast schism, demonstrating how elder decisions can have consequences that extend far beyond immediate policy implementation to affect organizational cohesion and long-term effectiveness. His choice to emphasize humanitarian objectives over technology recovery created tensions that some Brotherhood members found incompatible with their understanding of organizational purpose and priorities. Elder Hardin exemplifies the conservative approach to Brotherhood leadership that emphasizes strict adherence to traditional doctrine and aggressive pursuit of technological objectives, regardless of external political considerations or humanitarian concerns. His characterization as hidebound and conservative reflects not personal rigidity, but philosophical commitment to organizational principles that he considers essential to Brotherhood identity and mission success. The Van Graaf elimination ordered by Hardin illustrates how conservative elder philosophy translates into operational decisions that prioritize technological security over diplomatic considerations or economic relationships. His assessment that the crime family's possession and distribution of high-tech weaponry posed unacceptable threats to Brotherhood interests led to decisive action that eliminated potential competitors regardless of the broader implications for regional stability or trade relationships. The contrast between different elder approaches to similar challenges demonstrates how individual personality and philosophy can create significant variations in Brotherhood policy and operations, while all leaders remain committed to core organizational objectives. The differences between McNamara's progressive pragmatism and Hardin's conservative orthodoxy illustrate the range of leadership styles that can emerge within Brotherhood culture while serving the same fundamental mission. Arthur Maxon represents a synthesis of different elder philosophies that combines traditional commitment to technological preservation with pragmatic recognition of the political and social realities that affect Brotherhood operations in the modern wasteland. His approach to leadership demonstrates how newer generations of Brotherhood personnel can integrate lessons learned from previous leadership experiences while maintaining dedication to core organizational values. The reformist aspects of Maxon's leadership reflect his understanding that Brotherhood effectiveness requires adaptation to changing conditions without abandoning fundamental principles that define organizational identity and purpose. His policies regarding wasteland recruitment and civilian cooperation demonstrate strategic thinking that recognizes the interconnections between Brotherhood success and broader social and political developments in post-war society. The Institute conflict initiated under Maxon's leadership illustrates how elder strategic assessment can lead to major military commitments that reflect both immediate threat evaluation and long-term vision for Brotherhood role in technological governance. His decision to authorize aggressive action against the Institute reflected assessment that their activities posed existential threats to Brotherhood mission and values that justified the risks and costs of major warfare. The recruitment policies that Maxon implemented demonstrate how elder authority can reshape organizational composition and culture through decisions about membership criteria and advancement opportunities. His willingness to accept wasteland recruits reflects strategic understanding that Brotherhood mission requires human resources beyond what traditional recruitment practices could provide, while maintaining quality standards that preserve organizational effectiveness. The community cooperation initiatives that characterize Maxon's approach illustrate his recognition that Brotherhood long-term success requires positive relationships with civilian populations, whose support or hostility can significantly affect operational effectiveness. His emphasis on winning hearts and minds reflects strategic thinking that extends beyond immediate military considerations to encompass the political foundations of sustainable regional influence. The authority that elders exercise within their chapters is absolute but not arbitrary, constrained by accountability to subordinates whose loyalty must be earned and maintained through competent leadership, and by oversight from the High Elder Council, whose approval affects organizational support and legitimacy. These constraints create complex political dynamics that require successful elders to balance multiple competing interests and expectations while pursuing their vision of organizational development and mission accomplishment. The respect that elders must maintain among their subordinates depends not only on formal authority, but on demonstrated competence and consistent adherence to stated principles that create predictable leadership behavior. Brotherhood personnel at all levels evaluate their elders based on results achieved, resources provided, and protection offered against external threats and internal injustices that might undermine organizational cohesion and effectiveness. The High Elder Council oversight that governs elder behavior reflects the Brotherhood's recognition that chapter autonomy must be balanced against organizational unity and consistency of purpose that enables coordinated action across vast geographic areas. This oversight mechanism provides both support for elders who fulfill their responsibilities effectively and corrective action for those whose policies threaten broader organizational interests. The deposition mechanisms that enable elder removal demonstrate the Brotherhood's commitment to meritocratic principles and accountability that prevent ineffective or corrupt leadership from undermining chapter welfare or organizational mission. The procedures for elder replacement balance respect for rank and authority, with practical recognition that leadership positions must be held by individuals capable of fulfilling their demanding responsibilities. Elder McNamara's vulnerability to challenge from head Paladin Hardin illustrates how Brotherhood accountability mechanisms can create political tensions that reflect both personal ambition and genuine disagreement about policy and priorities. The possibility of leadership change through internal challenge provides institutional methods for addressing leadership conflicts while maintaining organizational stability and continuity. The tribunal process that resulted in Elder Lorne's demotion demonstrates how High Elder Council oversight can address situations where individual elder behavior creates concerns about organizational reputation or effectiveness without necessarily involving criminal wrongdoing or clear policy violations. This flexibility enables institutional responses that protect Brotherhood interests while acknowledging the complexities of leadership in challenging environments. The shadow of suspicion that can affect elder effectiveness even after formal vindication illustrates how political considerations can influence organizational dynamics in ways that transcend purely administrative or legal determinations. The Council's decision to demote Elder Lorne, despite his acquittal, reflected practical assessment that perceived conflicts of interest or questionable judgment can compromise leadership effectiveness regardless of formal innocence. The legacy considerations that affect elder decision-making create additional pressures for leaders who understand that their choices will influence not only immediate operational outcomes, but long-term organizational development and historical assessment of their tenure. Successful elders must balance short-term expedience with long-term consequences, considering how their policies will affect Brotherhood culture and capabilities long after their individual leadership has ended. The succession planning responsibilities that elders assume for their chapters require them to identify and develop potential future leaders while managing the political dynamics that succession questions can create among ambitious subordinates. The cultivation of leadership talent must be balanced against the need to maintain current organizational effectiveness and prevent destabilizing competition among potential successors. The strategic vision that distinguishes effective elders from competent administrators encompasses understanding of how Brotherhood operations fit into broader patterns of post-war recovery and development, anticipating future challenges and opportunities that may require organizational adaptation and preparation. This long-term thinking enables proactive leadership that positions chapters for success in changing environments rather than simply reacting to immediate challenges and threats. The moral authority that successful elders develop within their organizations reflects consistent demonstration of personal integrity, strategic competence, and genuine concern for subordinate welfare that creates the trust and loyalty necessary for effective leadership of complex organizations. This authority enables elders to maintain organizational cohesion during difficult periods and implement challenging policies that might be rejected under less credible leadership. The burden of ultimate responsibility that characterizes elder positions requires individuals capable of making difficult decisions with incomplete information, while accepting full accountability for the consequences of their choices. The isolation that can accompany supreme command creates psychological challenges that test personal resilience and emotional stability, while demanding continued effectiveness in the most demanding leadership role available within Brotherhood hierarchy. As night falls over Brotherhood territories and elders retire to quarters where the weight of command follows them into their private moments, these supreme leaders carry with them the accumulated concerns and aspirations of thousands of subordinates whose welfare depends on the wisdom and competence of their leadership. Their decisions shape not only immediate operational outcomes but the long-term trajectory of human recovery from nuclear devastation and the preservation of technological knowledge that represents civilization's greatest achievement and its best hope for avoiding future catastrophe. At the sacred heart of the Brotherhood of Steel, in the ancestral homeland of Lost Hills where Roger Maxon first gathered his followers and proclaimed their mission to preserve humanity's technological inheritance, sits the High Elder Council, a deliberative body whose decisions shape the destiny of every Brotherhood chapter scattered across the post-war wasteland. This council represents the closest approximation to democratic governance that exists within the Brotherhood's hierarchical structure, a forum where the most experienced and respected leaders debate policy and direction for an organization whose influence extends across continents and whose mission spans generations. The composition of the High Elder Council reflects the Brotherhood's commitment to collective wisdom rather than autocratic rule, bringing together 5 of the most accomplished leaders from different chapters to ensure that organizational decisions benefit from diverse perspectives and accumulated experience. The council includes 4 regular elders whose expertise and judgment have earned them positions of supreme authority within their respective domains, plus the High Elder who serves as first among equals rather than supreme dictator, moderating discussions and breaking deadlocks when consensus cannot be achieved through normal deliberation. The democratic elements that characterize council operations represent a remarkable achievement for a military organization operating in the chaos of post-apocalyptic conditions, demonstrating the Brotherhood's commitment to principled governance and collective decision-making, despite the authoritarian tendencies that emergency conditions might otherwise encourage. The Council's procedures ensure that major policy decisions receive thorough consideration from multiple perspectives, preventing hasty choices that might serve short-term interests while undermining long-term organizational welfare. The debate format that governs council deliberations enables each elder to present their analysis of proposed policies, share intelligence from their operational areas, and argue for approaches that reflect their understanding of local conditions and strategic requirements. These discussions can extend for days or weeks when complex issues require comprehensive analysis, ensuring that decisions affecting thousands of Brotherhood members receive the careful consideration that their importance demands. The policy-making authority that the Council exercises encompasses every aspect of Brotherhood activity, from strategic military objectives and resource allocation to recruitment standards and relationships with external organizations. Their decisions create the framework within which individual chapters operate, providing guidance that enables coordinated action across vast geographic distances while allowing sufficient flexibility for adaptation to local conditions and challenges. The vote-breaking authority that the High Elder wields when council deliberations reach deadlock represents perhaps the most significant power within Brotherhood governance, enabling resolution of conflicts that might otherwise paralyze organizational decision-making during critical periods. This authority reflects the unique position that High Elders occupy within Brotherhood hierarchy, combining respect for democratic deliberation with recognition that leadership sometimes requires decisive action when consensus proves impossible. The war authorization procedures that the Council employs for major military commitments illustrate how collective decision-making operates in practice, requiring detailed analysis of threat assessments, resource requirements, and strategic implications before committing Brotherhood forces to conflicts that may affect organizational survival. The hypothetical debate over engaging perceived hostile factions demonstrates how Council procedures balance competing priorities and perspectives while ensuring that military decisions receive adequate deliberation. The deadlock resolution mechanisms that enable Council effectiveness when elders disagree equally about important issues prevent organizational paralysis, while maintaining respect for minority viewpoints that may contain valuable insights or identify overlooked risks. The High Elder's decisive vote in such situations carries additional weight because it represents not arbitrary preference but considered judgment informed by comprehensive discussion of all relevant factors. The communication policies that govern Brotherhood's support for individual chapters reflect the Council's role in maintaining organizational unity and effectiveness across the scattered communities that comprise the Brotherhood's Pace Knightscation post-war presence. The decision to withdraw support from Owen Lyons when his policies diverged from established doctrine demonstrates how Council authority can enforce organizational standards while allowing for eventual reconciliation when circumstances change. The excommunication of Lyons and his East Coast chapter illustrates both the Council's commitment to doctrinal consistency and the challenges of maintaining organizational coherence when local conditions create pressures for policy adaptation that conflicts with traditional Brotherhood approaches. The withdrawal of support represented not punishment but institutional response to fundamental disagreements about mission priorities and operational methods. The reconciliation process that restored support to the East Coast chapter under Arthur Maxon's leadership demonstrates the Council's flexibility and pragmatism, showing how organizational relationships can evolve when new leadership addresses previous concerns while maintaining commitment to core Brotherhood values. The restoration of communication and support reflected assessment that Maxon's policies aligned sufficiently with Brotherhood doctrine to justify renewed institutional backing. The evaluation criteria that the Council applies when assessing chapter leadership and policy decisions encompass both adherence to established Brotherhood principles and effectiveness in achieving organizational objectives under local pieces OTA conditions. This balance enables the Council to maintain doctrinal consistency while acknowledging that different environments may require adaptive approaches that serve the same fundamental mission through varying methods. The support mechanisms that the Council provides to compliant chapters include not only material resources and strategic guidance, but institutional legitimacy and coordination with other Brotherhood elements that enhance individual chapter effectiveness. This support system creates incentives for policy alignment while providing practical benefits that enable successful mission accomplishment. The Lost Hills location of the Council reflects both historical significance and strategic positioning that enables effective governance of the far-flung Brotherhood organization. The ancestral homeland provides symbolic authority and institutional continuity that strengthen Council legitimacy while offering secure facilities for deliberations that may affect Brotherhood interests across multiple regions and time zones. The historical continuity that Lost Hills represents connects contemporary Brotherhood leadership with the founding vision of Roger Maxon, providing institutional memory and cultural grounding that inform policy decisions and strategic planning. The physical presence of original Brotherhood facilities and artifacts creates an environment that reinforces organizational values while inspiring dedication to mission accomplishment. The security considerations that affect Council operations require sophisticated protective measures and communication protocols that enable safe deliberation while maintaining necessary secrecy about sensitive organizational matters. The Council's discussions may affect Brotherhood relationships with major powers and influence regional stability in ways that require careful information management and operational security. The strategic planning responsibilities that occupy much of the Council's attention require integration of intelligence from multiple chapters, assessment of global trends and threats, and development of long-term policies that position the Brotherhood for success in changing post-war conditions. This planning process must balance immediate operational requirements with generational objectives that may require decades to accomplish fully. The resource allocation decisions that the Council makes affect every aspect of Brotherhood operations, determining how limited personnel, equipment, and materials are distributed among competing priorities and chapter requirements. These decisions require detailed understanding of organizational capabilities and strategic objectives, balancing current needs against future requirements and development opportunities. The technological policy guidance that the Council provides shapes how individual chapters approach their core mission of preserving and controlling advanced technology, establishing standards for acquisition priorities, research directions, and security protocols that ensure consistent implementation of Brotherhood objectives across all operational areas. This guidance must adapt to evolving technological landscapes while maintaining focus on preventing another apocalyptic conflict. The research coordination that the Council oversees prevents duplication of effort while ensuring that important technological investigations receive adequate resources and attention from qualified personnel. The integration of research findings across multiple chapters enables more rapid advancement and broader application of discoveries that serve Brotherhood mission objectives. The diplomatic policies that the Council establishes govern Brotherhood relationships with other major organizations and powers, providing frameworks for negotiation, alliance formation, and conflict resolution that serve organizational interests while maintaining consistency with Brotherhood values and objectives. These policies must account for varying local conditions while preserving strategic coherence across all Brotherhood operations. The recruitment standards that the Council maintains ensure that new Brotherhood members meet organizational requirements while allowing sufficient flexibility for chapters to adapt to local demographic and cultural conditions. These standards balance quality control with practical recognition that Brotherhood mission requires human resources beyond what internal population growth can provide. The training protocols that the Council establishes create consistency in Brotherhood education and professional development while enabling specialization that serves different operational requirements and environmental conditions. This standardization ensures that Brotherhood personnel can operate effectively across different chapters while maintaining the expertise necessary for specialized missions. The promotion criteria that govern advancement through Brotherhood hierarchy reflect Council commitment to meritocratic principles while ensuring that leadership positions are filled by individuals whose capabilities and dedication serve organizational welfare. These criteria must balance recognition of achievement with assessment of potential for greater responsibility and authority. The disciplinary procedures that the Council oversees provide mechanisms for addressing misconduct and policy violations while maintaining respect for individual rights and organizational justice. These procedures must balance accountability with recognition of the challenging conditions under which Brotherhood personnel operate and the complex moral dilemmas they may face. The succession planning that occupies increasing Council attention as founding generation leaders reach the end of their careers requires identification and development of future leadership while managing political tensions that succession questions can create within the organization. This planning must balance continuity of vision with adaptation to changing conditions and requirements. The High Elder position itself represents the culmination of Brotherhood career advancement and the ultimate expression of organizational trust and responsibility. The individual who holds this position must embody Brotherhood values while possessing the political skills and strategic vision necessary to guide collective decision-making among peers whose expertise and authority equal their own, in most respects. The unnamed current High Elder, whose identity remains unknown to most Brotherhood members, reflects the organization's emphasis on institutional authority rather than personal charisma or individual celebrity. This approach ensures that Council decisions carry organizational weight rather than reflecting personal preferences of particular leaders whose individual limitations might otherwise compromise collective effectiveness. The first among equals status that characterizes High Elder authority requires exceptional diplomatic skills and personal qualities that enable effective leadership of individuals who themselves exercise supreme authority within their own domains. The High Elder must command respect through demonstrated competence and wisdom, rather than relying on formal hierarchy or coercive power to achieve cooperation and consensus. The moderation responsibilities that define much of High Elder activity require careful management of discussions that may involve fundamental disagreements about Brotherhood direction and priorities. The ability to facilitate productive debate while maintaining organizational unity demands exceptional judgment and interpersonal skills that transcend normal leadership requirements. The legacy of Roger Maxon that every High Elder inherits creates both inspiration and burden, connecting contemporary leadership with founding vision while establishing standards of achievement and dedication that may be impossible to match. The expectation that High Elders embody Maxon's ideals provides moral authority while creating pressure for performance that exceeds normal human limitations. The reverence that Brotherhood members maintain for their founding leader creates mythological expectations for High Elder performance that may complicate practical governance while providing inspiration for exceptional dedication and sacrifice. The transformation of Maxon from historical figure to legendary ideal demonstrates how organizational culture can create standards that transcend individual capability while inspiring collective achievement. The institutional continuity that High Elder succession provides ensures that Brotherhood governance maintains consistency across generational transitions while adapting to changing conditions and requirements. This continuity enables long-term planning and strategic thinking that extends beyond individual leadership tenures while preserving organizational memory and accumulated wisdom. The global perspective that High Elder responsibilities require encompasses understanding of post-war recovery patterns, technological development trends, and political dynamics that affect Brotherhood operations across multiple regions and time zones. This perspective must integrate diverse intelligence sources while maintaining focus on fundamental organizational objectives that transcend local conditions and immediate concerns. The moral authority that successful High Elders develop within Brotherhood culture reflects demonstrated commitment to organizational values and consistent leadership effectiveness that creates trust and loyalty among members at all levels of hierarchy. This authority enables implementation of difficult policies while maintaining organizational cohesion during challenging periods. The burden of ultimate responsibility that High Elder positions carry requires individuals capable of making decisions that may affect the survival of human civilization, while accepting full accountability for consequences that may not become apparent for generations. This responsibility demands exceptional personal qualities and philosophical commitment that transcend normal leadership requirements. The democratic governance model that the High Elder Council represents demonstrates the Brotherhood's commitment to principled decision-making and collective wisdom despite operating in conditions that might otherwise encourage authoritarian approaches. This commitment reflects understanding that sustainable organizational effectiveness requires legitimacy based on merit and consensus rather than coercion or arbitrary authority. The debate and deliberation processes that characterize council operations enable thorough analysis of complex issues while ensuring that major decisions receive input from multiple perspectives and areas of expertise. These processes may appear inefficient compared to autocratic alternatives, but they produce more sustainable policies that enjoy broader support and more effective implementation. The flexibility and adaptation capabilities that council governance provides enable Brotherhood response to changing conditions while maintaining organizational coherence and mission focus. This flexibility prevents rigid adherence to outdated policies while ensuring that adaptations serve fundamental objectives rather than simply accommodating external pressures or internal convenience. The accountability mechanisms built into council operations prevent abuse of authority while maintaining respect for leadership prerogatives necessary for effective organizational management. These mechanisms balance democratic oversight with practical recognition that complex organizations require clear authority relationships and decisive action capabilities. As the years pass, and the Council continues its deliberations in the secure chambers of Lost Hills, these 5 leaders carry forward the sacred trust that Roger Maxon placed in his followers when he first proclaimed the Brotherhood's mission to preserve humanity's technological heritage. Their decisions shape the destiny of countless communities across the wasteland. Their wisdom guides the development of technologies that may determine whether human civilization recovers from nuclear devastation. And their commitment to democratic governance provides hope that even in the darkest circumstances, principled leadership and collective wisdom can prevail over chaos and despair. The legacy they build through their careful deliberation and principled decision-making extends far beyond immediate organizational concerns to encompass the fundamental question of whether human beings can learn from past mistakes, sufficiently to avoid repeating the catastrophic errors that brought nuclear fire to a world unprepared for such ultimate consequences. In their commitment to democratic governance and collective wisdom, in their dedication to preserving knowledge while preventing its misuse, the High Elder Council represents humanity's best hope for building a future worthy of the sacrifices made by those who preserved the flame of civilization through the darkest period in human history. As our journey through the ranks of the Brotherhood of Steel draws to its close, let yourself be carried into peaceful slumber by the knowledge that somewhere in the wasteland, this ancient order continues its sacred watch. From the youngest squire learning their first lessons to the High Elder making decisions that will echo through generations, each rank serves a purpose in the great chain that binds them all together. Sleep now, knowing that these guardians of technology and knowledge stand vigil against the darkness, ensuring that the flames of civilization will never be extinguished again. Let the steady rhythm of their duty be your lullaby, their unwavering dedication, your comfort as you drift into dreams of a better tomorrow.